bed at a regular time is one of the most important habits you can learn.
Who you gonna call?
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Oh, Lori, scared another one away.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
We are counselors at Hackett's Quarry Summer Camp. There is a swarm of bears.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you.
It's showtime.
Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous and wonderful episode of the Screen Stream. Now we're on episode 45, and we started a brand new year, so I figure if we're going to start this year off right, let's start this year off right with a fantastic show, and also, conveniently enough, the whole show, or at least part of the show, has to deal with making a deal on New Year's, basically on New Year's Eve. It's a fantastic show. If you don't know what show I'm talking about, let me break it down for you. We are discussing at least the first 4 episodes today of The Fall of the House of Ushers. Now, I'll be doing the other 4 episodes next week, but I figure we'll do like The Haunting of Hill House. We'll break it down just section by section. Make it a little bit easier so I'm not trying to cram so much in. And it really shouldn't be as long as the Haunting of Hill House one, because Haunting of Hill House, I think I did 5 episodes each, where this one's only 4, so it should be a little bit shorter. But yes, absolutely love this show. Since I saw it back in October, I fell in love with it instantly, but I knew I was going to like it. I knew I was, because it was Mike Flanagan. I like the majority of his work. But I will admit, I was a little hesitant going in because of the fact that, well, it's Mike Flanagan's work. We all know Mike Flanagan has this thing where he likes to add a lot of monologues. Now, depending on the situation and what's going on, the atmosphere of where they're having said monologue is whether or not the monologue is actually good. Like, let me give you an example. In Midnight Mass, there's a monologue that the preacher has towards one of the guys, the main character, or at least the main character for like 6 episodes. He's talking to him. He just became a new vampire, and he's going on this whole spiel about how he found the vampire and how, you know, this is just the way it is now. This is just life. You know, he's going to have to deal with it. And it goes on for a minute, right? Like, it goes on for at least 3 or 4 minutes. It's not a bad monologue. It's written extremely well. It's just boring. It's boring because, unfortunately, the actor... A good actor, by the way. He's a good actor, and he does phenomenal in other scenes. Like, in other scenes, he does a pretty decent job. But for, like, certain monologues, he does this. He'll go completely monotone. And it's like he's trying to have, like, a whisper conversation with you. Or not like a whisper conversation, but like he's literally just having a normal, casual conversation. You're, like, right in front of him. So there's no influxuation. There's no emotion behind it. It's like he's telling a story that he read off the internet. That's what it really feels like for some of his monologues. And again, don't get me wrong, there are other scenes he does really, really fiery at, like the whole church scene when he, you know, shows everybody this is what's going on, this is the vampire and all that. Really great scene. But, you know, that's kind of how most of that show is, unfortunately. It's kind of that. It's a lot of monologues that are monotone. And that's why it was such a slug and a struggle to get through that show. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a decent show. I had an okay time watching it. It's not one of my favorite Mike Flanagan works, but it does a pretty alright job. But it was so boring and so monologue heavy that it put me to sleep. Like, I'm not even joking. Episodes 6 and 7, I always fell asleep during episode 6 and or 7. And I had to go back and watch it. I think I fell asleep at episode 7 at one point. And then slept through, I think, part of 8, so I had to go back to 7, rewatch 7, fell asleep again around the same area. I had to go back, rewatch it, then got to 8, 9, and then finished it off. I was just like, that was just a chore. That felt like a chore to me. So I was a little hesitant going into this one. But again, it's Mike Flanagan. We've seen some of his better work, such as The Haunting of Hill House, which I praise constantly, especially on this podcast. I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows and one of my favorite adaptations of The Haunting of Hill House. It's phenomenal. The acting's great. The atmosphere is great. The monologues, the writing, the lighting, the practical effects, the jump scares. It just works well as a scary TV show. And it's number one. But follow the House of Ushers. Slides in, like a good slides in at a rank number 2. I wanted to put it above Haunting of Hill House, but there were some issues I had. Some just small, little things, more like little tidbits or nitpicks, I should say. You know, nothing too, astronomical where I'm gonna like talk crap on the show or something like that. But it basically, there's a couple of plot points, actually not a couple, there's one plot point that just went nowhere. And I feel like they could have concluded it at some point, just a simple conclusion would have been nice. And spoiler alerts, by the way, spoiler alerts for the show. Again, we're just talking about the first 4 episodes. Next week is the rest of the episodes. But this is something that does happen periodically throughout the show. Periodically? Am I even saying that right? Anyway, Frederick is trying to get into this phone his wife had during an incident from episode 2. And y'all seen the show, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, he's just so adamant about getting into this phone. And we spent a good chunk of the first few episodes after episode 2 of him trying to get into this damn phone. And then literally just the next episode, his wife is suddenly able to speak. And he's not even bother or going to ask her questions about the phone. He literally just drugs her, and he's just like, yep, this is how it's going to be now. And it's like we completely skipped over him either just going, screw it, I don't need to worry about the phone, or actually cracking in and then seeing some message. Like, I feel like that was like a plot device, or not a plot device, but a plot hole that actually, it's not necessarily a plot because it really wasn't too important to the plot, but it probably could have been a much more smoother ride to watch Freddy's downpour and his spiral of him going crazy. Like, don't get me wrong. We see how fragile Freddy is. Like, Frederick, I've seen some spineless characters in my life. That man, hands down, one of the most spineless characters I've ever met in my life. But this man, he spirals. And it's kind of like a dramatic spiral, too. It's like he's tipping, and then suddenly he just goes. And I feel like if maybe we would I'm having a stroke. Maybe if we would have had him getting into the phone, or him just going, breaking the phone because he's frustrated about not getting into this phone, I think that probably would have helped escalate and, really pushed into his insanity. Because he does some crazy-ass stuff in this that even Verna, who is portraying... I don't even know what really to describe Verna as. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, even Verna at one point dislikes what Frederick does and severely takes it out on him. And, it was well just. Like, everybody in the room when I was watching the season again, because this is my second go-through of it. Watched the first time by myself, and I nearly had a heart attack during episode 2. But we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, everything in this show is pretty well done. Except for, that one little, when it comes writing wise, anyway, hang on, I'm having another stroke. When it comes to writing wise, damn it, that is a tongue twister for me. Writing wise, screw it. What I'm saying is the writing is good. This one thing kind of somewhat brings it down because it's just one of those little things you shouldn't have really overlooked to a degree because the writing is done fluently and well in The Haunting of Hill House. I expect the same kind of expertise when it comes to Mike Flanagan. And like I said, he's got his hit or misses. And this one's a pretty damn good hit. there's just some things. There's just some things, and like I said, that's one of them. Another one is some of the lighting. Some of the lighting is not emulating or not showing off some of the spookier ghost scenes. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but there's like a couple. It's mainly the scenes when older Augie and Roderick are talking at the house itself and its present time, quote unquote, because there's a couple of timelines, by the way. But yeah, it's mainly when we get like when Roderick's mother's ghost shows up for that first time. It was really hard to see her in the background. It wasn't until I got like a faint shadowy movement that I noticed her. And I feel like maybe if they would have lightened up that scene a little bit, it could have really like made that a little bit creepier. Cause we all knew she was there. Like, I'm about to call him Frederick. Roderick told Augie, he's like, yeah, my mother's here. She's right behind you. And he's just like, ha, ha, yeah, I'm not falling for that trick. No, that was not a trick, Augie. That was not a trick. But yeah, it's just little tidbits or nitpicks like that really just bring it down just by one little notch. Why I cannot put it above Haunting of Hill House, just because there's just a few little minor, just tiny microscule problems. You know, again, nothing too crazy. And I will say, episode wise, when it comes to, you know, stronger or weaker episodes, I will say the first four not bad when it comes to episodes. My favorite and strongest episode for me was episode 2. I love episode 2. Episode 2 is crazy. It's whacked. We'll get there when I get there, but you're gonna hear me gush like I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind in that scene, because I'm gonna tell y'all a story real quick. So when I first watched that episode, I knew it was about to happen. I put 2 and 2 together. I knew it was about to happen, and it still shooketh me. That's how I describe it. It shooketh me. Not shook me, not scared me. It shooketh me. Because it was crazy. I didn't expect them to do it, but they did it. But, yeah, episode 2 really strong. For me, episode 4 was one of the more weaker episodes, and let me kind of explain it. I feel like they kind of not missed the mark completely, but they kind of dropped the ball a little bit for the Black Cat episode, because the first 4 episodes are called A Midnight Jury, Mask of the Red Death, I think it was Murder in the Rue Morgue, and Black Cat. Black Cat was one of the more weaker episodes for me, because I feel like they spent more time setting up the next episode, which was the Telltale Heart, instead of focusing on Leo and the Black Cat. They really could have done a little bit more than, you know, just kind of like the ending. I felt like they took a lot of the ending aspects of the Black Cat story and used that for majority of Leo's things. And you really could have delved more into the psychological torment the cat does to him. Like, you really could have delved a lot more. You know, of course, it brought him dead things, sure. And we know that these dead things weren't real. We know that cat he brought home was not real. And I'll get there when I get there and explain why I know for a fact that cat wasn't real. But the cat didn't really do too much kind of mean stuff. I think he like did 2 things, and it kept bringing him dead things, and then suddenly he's just calling Werner and just like, hey, yeah, you gotta take care of this cat, man. I can't even with this cat. And I just feel like a better build-up between the kind of showdown between him and the cat would have really paid off. I felt like maybe they could have really went there and mind fucked everybody by having us believe he killed his boyfriend. That would have been an interesting twist. Like, let's rewrite the 4th episode real quick. So we pop in. Leo has done killed the cat, right? He's done killed the cat. So we're starting this episode with him at the pet store, at Vern's pet store, look for the cat. He gets the cat, he takes it home, and no boyfriend. We don't see the boyfriend throughout this whole episode. And the entire time, you know, Leo's trying to call, you know, and he's trying to get the cat, and the cat's acting like super weird, like brushing up against this wall, maybe even clawing at the wall. Actually, imagine that, the cat just clawing at the wall, and he's like, hey, hey, trying to get it to go away, and then like swipes at him or something. And as the episode progresses, eventually he gets fed up and throws something at the wall, and it breaks through, and then the cat jumps through the wall. So he goes to try to get the cat, and of course the cat attacks him. Then he freaks out, and then that's when he can grab the hammer and start hammering in on the wall. And of course the whole joke about Thor's hammer, like I love that meta joke, by the way. That was just great. But he can start smashing the wall in with his Thor hammer. And then it's revealed that his boyfriend's body's there with the cat, and he freaks out. So he goes and grabs the cat, and he just does the thing where he strangles the cat, and the eye pops out and stuff, and he goes to throw the cat. And then right when he turns around and throws the cat, there's Verna. And she does her whole little tormenting thing, and it messes with him. And then throughout the rest of the episode, we continue on with him destroying the the walls and everything. But what also would have been cool at one point, why he couldn't find his boyfriend, is we get kind of where the cat's scratching at. Maybe as a symbol of the cat hanging from a tree as a nice little reference to the story, because the guy in the story, when he killed the cat, he hung it up on the tree, and then when his house burned down, I think it was like a smoky, shadowy thing on the wall was in the outline of the cat hanging from a tree. That would have been kind of like a nifty thing. Maybe the cat clawed it and it kind of looked like that or something. He could hear like the meows through the wall as well, kind of echoing. We really could have got to that psychological level. But I felt like they spent so much time building up to the Telltale Heart. We didn't focus a lot on Leo. And I'm going to be honest, Leo being this guy, I'm going to be honest, it does fit him. A lot of people say this one doesn't fit Leo, but I think it does. Because Leo, he ain't a saint. He's not a saint. A lot of people tend to look past this because of everybody else's sexual preference in the show. Because think about it. Everybody's got some weird kink. Except for Leo. Leo actually doesn't have a weird kink. He's just a cheating asshole. And I'll say it. And we catch him, and that first time we meet him, he's literally getting head by a woman. And he's got a boyfriend. Or fiance, I should say. So he's a cheater. But yeah, the episode 4, though, and we'll dive more about the cheating aspect and all that with Leo, so I went on a little tangent there. But yeah, episode 4 was more of the weaker ones because I feel like they didn't utilize the black cat in a very good way. Like, they did a good job. I like what they did with it. Like, it does still fit and flow well with the story. But I felt like they could have brought more of the black cat instead of, let's set up for Telltale Heart. Because don't get me wrong, they do that in all the other episodes. They'll set something up for the next episode, happening to one of the other siblings, and then continue on, which flows very well, and I like that, and it's really, really good. But it was just, I felt like we spent too much time on that, and we really could have maybe drawn back on that a little bit and focused a little bit more on Leo, and then could have had a lot more to happen in Telltale Heart. But yeah, overall, not a bad show. Like I said, this is just my likes and dislikes for the first 4 episodes. I'm going to keep iterating that so no one thinks I'm talking about the full series. Don't get me wrong. When we finish the last 4 episodes next week, I'll eventually get my full conclusions on the entire series overall. But in the first 4 episodes, it's just how I feel. But to continue on, Mike Flanagan, he does a good job with this, especially with the work he's given. It's all basically loosely based, he says. Loosely based, but I see him just like rolling in it, but it's just covered in Poe's work. It's all Poe. It's everything Poe, and I'm a huge fan of Poe. I love Edgar Allan Poe's work. I've read all his short stories. I watched all the movies. Like, I kid you not, I went to theaters to actually see The Raven with my mother. And a lot of people don't like that movie. I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed kind of guesstimating and wondering what did happen to Poe at the end of his life. Because there's a lot of speculations. Poe is a very tragic character. Or not even a character, he's just a tragic person. He went through and dealt with a lot. He had his own drug problems, his own demons to fight and everything. But he was a very good writer. He knew how to speak to the soul, especially especially for being a little different. Because a lot of poets back then, they wrote happy stuff, such as Longfellow. Longfellow. But they wrote either happy stuff or the scary stuff. A lot of people really like the scary stuff and the happy stuff, but the sad stuff, the drama stuff, people didn't read it. People didn't care. So when Poe came out with all this beautiful, depressing, poetries and stories and stuff, people didn't care. Because they're just like, no, we want your gore, we want your blood, we want the scares. We don't want your sappy sadness. We don't care that you're sad that you lost the love of your life. We don't care. We want that scariness. And I can get why that man, turned to opiums, like straight up. But I don't recommend it. Like, don't do opiums, kids. Like, don't do it. Just don't. I'm pretty sure that's what helped kill that man. He probably had an opium overdose or something. But Poe, fantastic work to work with. A lot of people do try to adapt most of his stories, especially like the Black Cat, Murder of the Rue Morgue, Mask of the Red Death, The Pit and the Pendulum. A lot of these stories do get adapted and retold and stuff, and some of them are hits, some of them are misses. But Mike does a good job. Like I said earlier, there are 2 timelines going on with this. Technically 3 to a degree, if you think about it. Because you got your first timeline, which is Roderick growing up. Him and his sister Madeline. And we get to see them as kids. What happened to them as young adults. And then what happened on New Year's Eve back in 1979. And it's all leading up to 1979. Then we have the present tense of what's going on, where Roderick is telling the story to Augie in his house. And then we have kind of another flashback, but it's more like a 2 to 3 week flashback of when his kids died as he's telling the story. So, there's about 3 different timelines going on here. So we'll be doing a lot of back and forth. But we have a stellar cast, a wonderful cast, by the way. And of course, I'm not going to go over all the cast, stuff we've seen them in before. Because if you see Mike Flanagan's work, you know who majority of these people are. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, we all know these people. They've been in a ton of Mike's work. But they are fantastic nonetheless. Great actors. Highly recommend them. Especially the guy who played Roderick. Bro, your lemonade freaking monologue had me with that lemonade speech, and I'll get there when I get there. But oh my god, like, I didn't think a speech about how to monopolize lemonade would be so good. But we have I can never say her name, and I always feel bad that I can never say her name, but Carla Gugino? Gugino. I can never say her last name. Love her though. Love her. She's a beautiful woman, a beautiful actress. She is phenomenal. She always has me by every word she says, no matter what role she plays. Fantastic actress. She plays Verna. Now, Verna, of course, is an anagram for, of course, the Raven. And the thing with Verna is, I don't know what she is. I don't think anybody knows what she is, because the fact that she has the ability to make deals, but she's also death in a way, because the deals have to deal with death. But if you think about it, she promises so much. It's like her deals are so good. And she just wants to see how they play out, though. Like, she has no rhyme or reason for her deal. She says it in one of the last episodes, when we're in the 1979 flashback, that she's willing to make the deal and just see how it plays. And I started thinking, she didn't tell Roderick how to run the company. She didn't tell Roderick this is what's going to happen. She just told Roderick, hey, I can guarantee you that you will get away with whatever you did tonight, and your family will prosper, and then some, and then some. But when you die, your entire family dies. That kind of bullshit. I feel like it could have gone a different direction. Like, if you think about it, she never specifically told him that. So he really could have ran the company a different way. He could have gone more technical. He could have been a better person, a better man. But, of course, he ran it like his father. So, kind of a jerk. or more like his boss, Rufus. But the point is, I feel like she was giving him a choice. Like, she laid out the deal in front of him, but the deal was you could either run it good or you could run it bad. And he chose bad, of course, because this is, based on Poe's work, and everything about Poe is about revenge. So there's never good intention when it comes to revenge. But, like I said, that's why I don't necessarily want to call her a demon, because, yes, it's a deal. She's killing people. I don't know why she's killing people, but she's also not evil about the deals. Like, I'm going to be honest, that's a pretty sweet deal, what she offers them, 40, what was it? 40, 50 years of just luxury, being safe and secure, or 60 to 70 years of suffering and being miserable. Like, that's not a bad deal to take, especially if you're guaranteed to get away with everything. You're going to have all the riches of the world. As long as you were a good person, I feel like that would have been a fantastic deal. But again, Roderick is not a good person. But that's the thing. That's something you'll learn about all these characters. None of these people, except for like a handful, I'm talking about maybe five, and none of them are the family members. Like, none of them are the kids, and none of them are Madeline or Roderick, okay? Like, I'm gonna put it that way. None of them are the immediate family, because they're all horrible people. They're not supposed to be likable. That's why we root for them to die. But let's see. Bruce Greenwood, he did the older version of Roderick. Fantastic job, man. Fantastic job. I will say it again. Fantastic job. Absolutely love you. Zach Gilford, he played the younger Roderick. I'm assuming that's the more younger adult version we see in the 79 flashbacks. Did a phenomenal job as him as well. I liked him. He came off very... It's weird because they're playing the same character, but they're two different variations of the character. Besides the fact that one's young, one's old. Older Roderick is very cold, business savvy, smart, thinking 20 steps ahead of everybody and everything. But younger Roderick was more naive, more, simple, was looking on the good of the world, wanted to do something with the world. But unfortunately, he had Madeline, who is like the little devil on his right shoulder telling him what to do. And she's not a good person. I've learned... Maybe if Madeline wasn't around, I feel like Roderick would have been a pretty decent person. I feel like Roderick would have been a nice poet. Like Verna said, he would have been a nice poet, and life would have been grand with him and his kids. I'm sure Frederick and Tamerlane would have been fine. But no, we had to get Madeline involved. But speaking of Madeline, Mary McDonald played her. Wonderful older actors, wonderful. Like, I absolutely was just shooketh. I was shooketh by her because she is so cold. She's so savvy and cold. But I had to give Willa Fitzgerald, who played young Madeline, the credibility there. Like, she was strong and stung like a freaking bee. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, she not a bee, a wasp, a black-headed wasp too. Like one of those. No. What's that one wasp that like remembers you and will hunt you down? That's Madeline. She is that wasp. She is that one. She is vicious. She's the woman I do not want to be on her bad side with. Oh my God, she's underhanded. She's manipulating. She is crazy, but like smart crazy, not like loony bin crazy. Like she's like crazy smart. She's all into the tech savvy and all for women's independence and shit. But she ain't like SJW. Let me slam this over your head kind of thing. She knows what she wants and she goes for it. I think Berna did the best description of her by calling her Cleopatra, because she is like Cleopatra. Cleopatra was the same way, a very strong, smart, savvy woman. I don't think she was as vicious and as cold as Madeline, but she did think ahead when it came to war and keeping her people safe. So, yeah, hands down, though, that young Madeline actress, Willa, fantastic job. We have Henry Thomas, who plays Frederick. And, of course, we all know him from The Haunting of Hill House. So it was kind of strange to see this man who was playing Hugh, who is this, like, I can fix this guy, I can fix this guy. Like, I got this man kind of dude, to Frederick, who's a spineless coward. Like, this man just wants to suck up to daddy. He doesn't have his own personality. He's very fidgety and lackluster, and I don't see how he even got with his wife. Like, I'm looking at his wife, and I'm just like, she must really like your personality. Like, she must really like just boring guys, because he seems boring. Not like a bad boring, but he just seems like that dad that would just be boring. Like, yeah, I think even his daughter kind of says that, because he makes a joke about The Departed, and she's like, no, Dad, there are other movies besides The Departed. So it feels like a dad who just stays to the beat of his own drum, and, you know, doesn't branch out to a lot of craziness, you know, kind of sticks to his own movie like The Departed. Maybe rides in the same car, you know, does the same tradition, you know, doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. A very boring guy. Is that a bad thing? No. Some girls like that. Other girls don't. Some girls want adventurous. Some girls want bad boys. Some girls want book smart guys. His wife wanted him. I don't know why. You know, people would say money, but she was a model. She was a model, man. She was making money. Maybe it was the fact that she didn't have to work a day in her life or something. I don't know. She was making cakes. She was making cakes and writing books, and oh my God, still though, how did he get that? I will never know. But Frederick, by the way, I forgot to make a mention. When it came to Roderick and Madeline's name, of course, they're actually from the Fall of the House of Ushers book. When it comes to, or not book, but the story itself. When it comes to Frederick's name, he's from a short story that Poe wrote called The Metrogyrist. Oh, shit. This is one of those ones I cannot pronounce. Poe's got a couple of these. It's spelled Metzengerstein. Yeah, N. I have no idea how to say it. I heard somebody say it earlier while I was going through a quick review while I was trying to warm up for the podcast, and I still cannot say it. Kate Siegel, who, another fantastic, wonderful actress, loved her in this role, by the way. I've never seen her as a cold-hearted bitch like this, like very smart, cunning PR woman, but she plays Camille. Love Camille. She was one of my favorite characters, and I'm so sad that we didn't get to spend more time with her, because she unfortunately dies in the Murder of the Rue Morgue, which is the 3rd episode, so we only get her for like 3 beautiful episodes, but nonetheless, she was fantastic on screen, and of course, Camille is from the Murder of the Rue Morgue. We have, I'm going to try to pronounce his name, it's the guy who plays Napoleon, or Leo, Raul Kohli, Kohli. I think I'm saying that. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel so bad. I really do. I hate when I can't say the actor's name, because a lot of these actors I like, y'all just have really hard-ass names to pronounce for me. But that name, of course, you know, Napoleon, it's from a short story called The Spectacles. Samantha Solon, who plays Tamerlane, that's, of course, one of his poems, Tamerlane. Another actress, gonna have problems saying her name, Tanai, T-N-I-A, but it has that cute little apostrophe between the T and the N. Tanai Miller, she plays Victorine. I really love this actress. I fell in love with her in Blind Manor. She is a strong actress. She plays her characters well. She does. Everything I've seen her in so far, she's amazing. She really is. Oh my God, and she's beautiful. And she's a beautiful actress. Just beautiful. Oh, she ranks up there with the actress who plays Berna. Love her. Her name comes from the premature burial. Premature burial. Another one, guys. I'm sorry. Surgeon Supak. I'm not even gonna try to say your last name, dude. I feel so bad. Surgeon. He plays Perry Prospero. He plays Perry though. He for the little time we had him on screen, I thought he was fun. He was an idiot teenage boy almost, but he was fun. He was very fun. Of course, he plays Prospero from Mask of the Red Death. That's all our immediate family members. Now let's go down to our little side characters. And I was shocked. I was shocked as hell when I saw this man the first time. I was just like, holy crap, I can't believe Mike Flanagan got this actor. Mark Hamill's in this, playing Arthur Pym, or as they call him, Pym Reaper. Phenomenal. I loved him just playing this guy. He's so creepy, but his character is so well done. Like the end, the way his character ends is fantastic. Like I love the overarching narrative when it comes to Arthur's character. But he's from the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym's. It's another little story by Poe. Absolutely good one. Michael Trucco, he plays Rufus Griswold. Funny enough, that's a real rival of Edgar Allan Poe, Rufus Griswold. I think he was an editor rival. He didn't like Poe's work, so he never really published his work. I can't really remember. It goes up there with the actor who plays. Unfortunately, I didn't write the actors down. He didn't show up on the casting list, but I know the actor. He played Mr. Tuttle from The Haunting of Hill House, but he played Longfellow. And I laugh at Longfellow because, first of all, we all know Longfellow was another writer rival of Poe. But again, like I said earlier, I went and saw the movie The Raven in theaters with my mother. And one of the scenes that me and my mom absolutely love is the scene near the beginning of the movie where Poe comes in. And he's in the newspaper editing area, and the little newspaper boy gives him a newspaper, and he's like, "It's a tragedy, Mr. Poe. What is?" And he flips it open, and of course you read, 2 people murdered, da 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 da, and he's just like, "Where is it? Where is what, Mr. Poe? Where is it? My story. Where is it?" "Oh, well, they said that there wasn't enough room in the paper." "What do you mean there wasn't enough room?" "Well, someone else got your spot." And you cut over to the editor who's on the like writing something on his desk. You just hear John Shoescat, who's playing Poe, just scream out, "Longfellow! Longfellow!" And then he goes on this huge tirade about how Longfellow sucks, that he wouldn't know, that the editor wouldn't know anything about genius writing if it slithered in one ear and went out the next. Like, he went off about Longfellow. So that's why I gotta laugh anytime I hear the name Longfellow. But, Katie Parkey, she was a beautiful actress as well. She plays Lenore, who's based off The Raven, of course. She's the granddaughter of Roderick. She was a real treat to have. She was the only good usher next to Annabelle Lee. The only good usher. Matt Beadle? Biedel? He plays Bill T, who's from the character named Willie Wilson? Willie Wilson, I think. Crystal Ballant, she plays Morella. Of course, she's from the short story Morella. Then you have Ruth Codd, who's playing Juno. Love that. I love Juno's character. She's great. She's really great. And I love her turnaround at the end. And then Michael Goodwin, who plays young Augie. And I feel like I skipped over 2 other fantastic actors. And I'm sorry, I misread that. Katie Parkey played Annabelle Lee, who's from the poem Annabelle Lee. And it was Kaylee Kernran who played Lenore. I think I'm saying her last name right. I'm not sure. But Kaylee, she played Lenore. But I forgot to mention the actor who played older Augie, or August, Carl Lumbly. Augie was a fantastic character to choose from, especially from out of Poe's work when it comes to detective novels. Because he was in several stories, the character of Augie. And I like that. He was kind of like the first Sherlock Holmes before Sherlock Holmes the Thing. So I'm glad they were able to bring him in. But I love what they've done with all these characters and all these stories, all these nods and references. Like I said, they say it's loosely based, but they roll in with all the references, not just only with the names, but certain scene moments. Of course, the title of each episode. Some of the lines are straight up taken from the stories themselves. Like, especially the last episode, The Raven. There's literally segments of Roger just repeating the story The Raven back at us, and it's done very well. Don't get me wrong, it's done very, very well. But, you know, they're straight up taking parts of the story or Poe's stories to put in the script. So there's more than just some soft, subtle nods. Like, it's just rolling a Poe. Like, this is all Poe. It feels like Poe. Poe would be so proud of this because this feels like him. It's very dark. It's very gothic, but it's very modern. And I like it. And the story is told very well, and it is excellent. It's super, super well done. And then again, just I love that finally someone done Poe justice by not just doing a carbon copy of his stories, but trying to add their own unique twist to it, and it's done very well. It's done extremely well. But yeah, each of these characters, they fit themselves extremely well. You know, like I talked about Frederick, about how he's spineless. Camille, she's more like PR heavy. She's vicious because of what she can twist a story into. She is like the perfect PR person you would want to have. And she is smart, and she keeps tracks of everybody. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, she literally keeps tabs. She has files on everybody, including her family. Like, this woman is like smart about this shit. Tamerlane, I like Tamerlane's whole thing because it fits well with her episode Goldbug, which Goldbug is an episode I really wasn't too familiar with because it was just one of those that kind of slept under the radar. I think I read it maybe 1 or 2 times, but I didn't read it as religiously as like some of the other stories in the episodes, like A Telltale Heart, Black Cat, Mask of the Red Death, Pin the Pendulum. I read those a lot more, and The Raven, a lot more than I did Goldbug. But it fits well because in Goldbug, the guy's obsessed with the gold bug and the scarab and all this stuff, and she is very, very similar throughout this. She wants to be in control. She is so obsessed of basically showing her family up that she can do this. She is stronger and better than this pharmaceutical company. She is better than what her siblings think she is. She is the Usher family member. She's not a bastard offspring. She is the Usher family member. Her and Frederick are the 2 only actual heirs of the Ushers. The rest of them are just bastard kids, like straight up. But her character is very well done, and I liked it. I didn't think I was gonna like her as much because she was kind of in the background for a couple of the first few episodes. But once we got closer to her episodes, she started becoming more in the forefront. Really good. I really like her character. Victorine. She had a tragic backstory. And by tragic backstory, I mean the more like tragic story that happened to her in the show. Like, her having Telltale Heart really fit well. It fit extremely well. I love how strong, and you can see that arrogance from her father, that she is willing to go behind the lines to do what she's got to do to prove to her father she's got this, because she's the eldest of the bastard kids. So she, like Tamerlane, has something to prove to daddy, and I think that's why Camilla doesn't like Victorine. There is something you'll see as we talk about the episodes where it's obvious Camille doesn't like Victorine. And it's never stated why, but I think it has to do with sibling jealousy and rivalry. The fact that they're both bastard children, but because she's the eldest and she's doing something that he's more interested in, he cares more about her, and Camille feels left out. She wants to feel just as important. So I think that's where some of that sibling rivalry comes in at, where she actively just doesn't like she honestly doesn't care much for the rest of the family. Like, she'll make a mention of Frederick. She'll talk about Tamerlane, but Perry, she don't like Perry. She don't like Perry. She don't really like Victorine very much. I think the only other bastard she likes is Leo. I think Leo and her are cool. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anybody really liked Perry. I think Perry was like the oddball out. I think, hell, even Roderick said that he was the crazy one of the bunch. So, no one really liked Perry. And I can kind of get it because he was one of those socialites who thought he was smarter than everybody in the room, which to a degree he was, but he did it in such a dirty, underhanded way. Like, his whole thing is all about blackmail. Like, he wants to throw this elegant party, or not really elegant, but like an orgy, basically. And it's all about blackmail. Like, straight up. So I get why his family don't like him. Let's see, Lenore. I want to talk about Lenore. Like I said, she's the nicest of the Usher family. She's the sweetest, the kindest, and gentlest. She's smart, and everybody loves her. Everybody loves her. Well, just the family that meets her. Because I don't think, to be honest, I don't think about it. I don't think, like, Camille and all of them really interact with her except for, like, one scene, and that's the dinner table scene at the end of episode 1 or 2. I think it's episode 1. But yeah, she is just a beautiful soul. She is like the light in Roderick's life. She is the love of Annabelle. The love that Annabelle brought him. And I think that's why he just immediately just is smitten with her and he loves her. And I can get it. I really can get it. I'm 100% behind him on that. Rest of the kids don't care. But there is a different look on this though, because there's something I noticed that Verna does to the kids that she kind of gives them a choice to a degree, and it's mainly okay. Let me kind of give you on my train of thought here. So Verna tells Roderick during the deal they make that all their bloodlines will die. Like, no matter what, once he dies, everybody dies. Everybody's got to go. So, when she comes to take everybody's soul, I think she looks at them as the individual person. Yeah, unfortunately, they're all going to die. They all got to die. But depending on how they are, is depending on whether or not Verna was going to be mean or nice to them. Case in point, with Perry. Verna tells Perry that there was still time to stop all this. Which means the incident that happens at the end of that episode could have been avoided if Perry would have just not been Perry and just left the party. Like, she was giving him the option to not to die in this horrible death. Like he had choices. Like, he could have died somewhere else. Camille, she's a key example because she straight up tells her, this was not your fate. You could have died warmly and nicely and peacefully in bed. But we're here, so bring it. So I feel like depending on how these people were and how she viewed them and how she treated them. And I noticed that several times, like with when she meets Arthur or when she meets Madeline, she has very lovely conversations with them about their life and everything, about how things would have been and how things could have gone. But, so I feel like, and that's another thing why I don't want to call her a demon, because she was a demon. She would have found every possible way to make everybody suffer. I mean, everybody. Not just, because Roderick, I feel like he suffered a lot. He suffered a lot, but he deserved it because of what he did with the pharmaceutical company. But what I mean by he suffered a lot is that he got to sit there and watch everybody he loved died, including Lenore. Like that, oh my God, when that happened, that broke my heart. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when Lenore died, I didn't see that shit coming. Like, I completely forgot she was even part of the film, because she was so kind and gentle and loving. I forgot she was even an usher. I just thought she was like some random adopted kid they had. But no, she's actually bloodline. So when her time came, and it was the most peaceful out of all the deaths, of course, Roderick finds her body and has to see that, and it tore him up. He suffered. He had his own suffering, but I feel like others suffered in more ways than one. Like, others got more asshole ways to die. Like, you ever seen that show, 100 Ways to Die? Oh, we're going to go through a lot of them today. But yeah, no, I feel like Verna's more than what we can comprehend, and she's more than a demon, more than death. I don't want to say she's an angel either, because again, she's making deals. I don't know what she is. She's just like, and what's even weirder is something she says to them. I can't remember. I'll probably remember as we're going through the episodes. But something she says to them that they're outside of all of time and space, which I know is a little offhanded and especially out of context. But when they're talking, she's like, "Imagine this bar is not here in this reality," and we know that the bar never existed, especially at the end of the show. We know the bar never existed, so it was a building that popped up there, kind of like Mr. Needle. Oh God, what is the name of that? Rick and Morty made fun of it when Summer worked for the devil at the trinket store or something, but it's based on an actual story about like the devil's little pop shop, and he'll pop in to make deals with people, and then he'll just disappear. It's I can't remember the name of the story, but Rick and Morty made fun of it when Summer worked there, and then Rick and her got beefed up and beat the crap out of him at the end of the episode. But enough chit-chat and dilly-dally. Let's dive straight on in to these 4 wonderful episodes. These are all fantastic episodes. Like I said, the strongest one to me was episode 2. The weakest for me is 4, and let's see why. So episode 1, of course, is a Midnight Drury, and no, that's not an actual name of any of his Poe's work, if you don't know. But if you do know, you know exactly where this comes from, and of course it comes from the opening of The Raven. Once upon a midnight Drury, why I ponder weak and weary. Fantastic. I think that was a fantastic choice in title because it all wraps around to the ending of the episode, which is titled The Raven. So I thought Midnight Drury being the start of The Raven, and the last episode being The Raven, I thought that was like a good full circle around. We start off seeing some flashes with the song, of course, Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. And I really like this rendition of it. But we see flashes of a New Year's Eve party, a brick wall. Could they get any more metaphor if they tried? And as we're going through these little flashes, we then cut to this funeral. And we're now with what's left of the Usher family, which is not much, by the way. We got Roderick, Lenore, Pym, Juno, and his sister Madeline. That's it. Everybody else, boom, dead, gone. God rest their souls, all that shenanigans. But nobody else is here. Nobody else is at this funeral. So they're all sitting there, and Roderick keeps looking back and then forward. And of course, Lenore's like, "Granddad, you okay?" And he's just like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. It's good." And you get the sense that he's being watched. Now, I want to say, at some point, you kind of get a bit of a flash of what happened to each of the kids. Nothing tangible or hardcore, but we get like a quick little glimmer of what the kids went through, why he's, looking back and forth, looking at the coffins, looking back behind him. Because first we, see Verna standing there. We don't know it's Verna at the time. We just see a silhouette of a figure. And he turns back, and we see all the kids just standing there like, "What's up, Pops? How's it going?" It feels very, isolated and alone, though. It feels cold. It's a very cold opening. And you see, after the funeral, we then cut to the actor, or basically Augie, and he's getting basically a phone call after, okay. So with Augie's character, you find out that he's been on this mad long hunt for the Ushers to take them down. He has a personal vendetta, revenge, if you may even say, against the Usher family. But not in a malicious, vengeful way, but they did kind of ruin his life to a degree. But the point is, he's got revenge on his mind, so he wants to take them down because they need to be taken down a peg, or 2, or maybe even 3. But he gets a phone call, or basically, and the assistant comes in and tells him he has a phone call, and it's Roderick Usher. He's like, it's actually him. Not his secretary, not his lawyer. It's actually Roger Usher. He wants you to meet him here at this house. Are you sure he wants to meet here? Yeah, it's him. He wants to meet you there. So he ends up going to this house. And of course, it's an old, dilapidated, kind of caved in, nasty looking house. And he comes in, and the only thing in here is Roderick Usher, a fireplace, 2 chairs, and a table with a bunch of booze on it. And I'm going to be honest, I like this booze. I don't know what this booze is, but this booze looks cool. Because as Augie comes in, Roger, is like, hey, come in and sit down. And he offers him a drink, and he pulls out this fancy bottle. I'm talking about, like, he says, yeah, this has been aged in a barrel, and, it's been fine-tuned. It's covered in diamonds. This is worth I don't know, say a lifetime of your salary. I was looking at that like, that must be the most finest booze in the world. Like, I don't know what it was. He said it in the lines, but I cannot remember what it was. But I love the booze. And it's a very expensive bottle of booze. But as he sits, he hands the drink, sits down. He's like, so why did you bring me here? Well, I'm here to confess. I know you've been hunting me down and everything. I'm here to confess. Wouldn't you want your lawyer here? No. He waives his right to the lawyer. He doesn't want Arthur here. He just wants to have a man-on-man conversation with Augie, which seems fair and just because of the fact that them meeting is what changed his Roderick's view in the world. Them meeting, he even says it in the show that him meeting Augie changed him. And whether it was for the good or bad, well, it's yet to be determined on this episode. But we know as the show progresses, it was bad. But I blame Madeline. I 100% blame Madeline. But while they're getting comfy and chit-chatting, Roderick's sitting there and he keeps looking at his phone because it's vibrating on the table and he's looking at it, he puts it down, looks at it. And Augie's like, do you want to get that or anything? And he's just like, no, it's just my granddaughter. Well, wouldn't you want to, talk to your granddaughter? And this is where we get this nice thing about Augie. You find out he is a married man and he's got kids, and yet he's here talking with Roderick instead of being at his family's house, and he kind of uses that, or Roderick uses that kind of against Augie when Augie's like, well, what, take the call for your granddaughter. She's the only good one left. Or okay, he doesn't say that, but he does make a mention that family is important. And he's just like, well, you're here. Why are you here? And he's just like, I just want answers. I want you to finally be brought down after all these years. I want you to be brought down. So tell me, what do you want to tell me? And he's like, I'm willing to confess to everything. All 74 charges, because they're in court with pending charges, 74 pending charges. Probably for a lot. They don't really delve too much into the court trial itself. But they in trouble because they're a dirty pharmaceutical company who's the cause of many deaths and drug addiction problems. Fun fact. But he's just like, I'm here to confess everything, including the death of my children. Which is a weird thing to say, because why would you confess the death of your children? Because even Augie says, Roger, we all know that was an accident. All of these were just horrible accidents. But we get a flashback. Back to 1950 something. I think it was like 59 or something like that. I don't know. It was back in the day, though. It was back in the day. But flashback, though, sound effects and all that shit. We got, he talks about his mom. His first episode talks about his mom. And his mom worked for a man named Longfellow, and they were never allowed to see him. And you find out as the show, I think as this episode progresses, that it turns out, or what we speculate is to be the truth, is that she and Longfellow had a thing, and this is where Roger and Madeline come in at. And, of course, typical stuck-up balls, who sleeps with his secretary, gets her pregnant. He denies the kids and acts like none of it ever happened, and basically tells Roderick and Madeline's mom never to come there, and they were never allowed to see him. But they do it anyway, and they're just like, why do you look so highly to this man? And she starts praising him, and she starts talking about the Lord. She's like, Jesus does these good things for us. God blesses us. And that's why God brought in Longfellow into our lives. He's good to us. He treats us well. He does well. And she's highly talking about him, praising him. And I think she's only doing that because of the fact that he is the father of her children. But he ain't a good person. He is not a good person. Like, seriously, if you look at everybody else's house, because we get a good look at his house. He's got a nice, 2-3-story house with a big-ass fence and a huge-ass gate. Like, he's got a nice gated house. Everybody else is kind of, stacked on top of each other. That feels like a douchebag. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, she says that pain and suffering is the killer of time. I think that's what she said. Killer of time, killer of tune, killer of something. Oh, wait, no, I misread that. I'm reading two different lines at once. I'm sorry. Pain and suffering is the kiss from Jesus. And the reason why I was saying the killer of time was because Roger rebuttals back with, if the pain and suffering of Jesus his kisses, then he must have beat the shit out of my mother with all the kisses. Because oh God, I don't know what she was suffering from. They say it a couple of times, like Catlin, Catlin or something like that. It's this weird medical problem where it's it causes hallucinations and it makes you really, really ill, and slows down your heart and starts messing with you, and basically it kills you by the end of it. But unfortunately, she's suffering from it, and the kids are trying to help their mom out, and she's like, no medicine, Jesus didn't, she goes there, she says Jesus didn't make medicine to heal us. The only thing we need is the prayer of Jesus. She is literally one of those people. We need the prayer of Jesus. Jesus will heal us. Yeah, I'm sure you prayed hard. I'm sure you prayed super hard, crazy lady, because Jesus was not listening. Jesus did not take the wheel on this one. Repeat, guys, Jesus did not take the wheel on this one, because unfortunately she dies. Even though the kids, real quick before she dies. So while she's suffering by the kisses of Jesus, the kids decide to go to Longfellow and ask him for help because he's the only guy they can really turn to in this situation. And they make this whole speech like, oh, well, mom really likes you, she looks up to you, and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Longfellow just goes, no, you're on your own. I can't convince your mom to go into the hospital, go see a doctor. You know what? You're on your own, kiddos. Bye! Closes the door, and then the next thing, mom dies. So, the kids don't know what to do because mom was against all types of medication. They can't call, I don't know why, first of all, I don't know why they didn't call a priest. I would have called, if she was that religious, I would have called a priest. But I guess maybe she was enemies with the priest or something, I don't know. But the kids take it upon themselves, instead of calling anybody about their mother's passing, they end up burying her in the backyard. They literally tear down the shed, make a makeshift coffin, and bury her in the backyard. Granted, though, that's very on Poe's nose. I'm not going to lie. That's very on Poe. That's something Poe would definitely write in. But one dark, stormy night, shortly after they bury their mother, they realize something's not right. And they look out the window and see that their mother is gone. So they run downstairs, and I really like this atmosphere, especially how strong the storm itself was with the wind and the lightning strikes and the thunder. But they go outside, and they see that the coffin is busted open, and she crawled out of the gravesite. And you see footprints and handprints leading up inside the house. So once they get in there, Mom jump scares us all and grabs Roderick by the throat. And he's like, Mommy, I'm sorry. We didn't know. And of course, Madeline's doing the same thing. Like, Mommy, please. We thought you were dead. Please, And not Madeline, but the mom, kind of comes to her senses for a second. And he goes, well, kids, I'm on a mission. Okay, she doesn't say that, but she does it. She literally turns around, walks out of the house, middle of the storm, just crawled out of a grave, walks down the street, and of course, Longfellow's looking out because during the confrontation with their mom, the lights went out. And originally I thought it was just their house, but it turns out it's the whole neighborhood because Longfellow tells us that. And as that's happening, she opens up his gates, walks up to him as he's standing there like, who is that? She then grabs him by the throat and just strangles him to death. As the rain's pouring, the wife is screaming, the kids are crying, everybody, because the kids followed her, by the way, because this is a really nice shot of watching her walk from the house all the way down the street with the kids following right behind her. It's a really nice shot. And again, like I said, the atmosphere is super, super well done with the thunderstorm and the rain coming down. But yeah, no, mother straight up killed Longfellow and then died on top of him. Like, I don't know what happened there. Speculation is she came back from the dead because that would be on par with Poe's work. But I have another theory. She was accidentally buried and she was still alive, slowly dying but still alive, and then she busted out just to finish one more thing, and that was to kill Longfellow. She was like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna take somebody with me. So she busted out to go kill Longfellow to take him with her. Like, we're going out in this world together, buddy. We're going out in this world. But I can't believe the fact that she was probably dead to begin with, because I've noticed that when the ghosts appear in the show, like, you see that with all the kids as well, they all have this glossy, like, creepy, I'm talking about creepy, glossy, bluish black eye. And it shines blue and shiny when the light hits and everything, but when they're up close, it's very blue and black, kind of like meshed together. It's very creepy. But I noticed that the mom has the same look when she comes back and starts strangling Roderick in the kitchen. But, you know, I'm having a stroke here yet again. I don't know what today is going on. Stroke. If I fall over, guys, just call 911. Just call 911. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I could believe either one of these. I am, though, thinking about it, leaning more towards the fact she might have been dead, especially after I mentioned the eye thing, and I given more thought on it. So, about 90% sure she was dead to begin with, but there is that 10% chance that it could have been an accidental burial, and she was just like, you know what, if I'm dying, I'm taking somebody with me. Which could explain why she went for Roderick first, and it went, nah, Longfellow's better. Anyway, we then cut back from that beautiful flashback back to Roderick and Augie talking at the house. And funny enough, I forgot to make a mention about this, but when Augie first comes in, he makes a mention that this is his family's house. This is the house where we saw the flashback in with the mom and burying her out back and everything. This is the same house. Same fucking house. And I'll be honest, it aged just like he did. It aged just like he did. It's still there, but it's decrepit. But it didn't look good to begin with. I don't know what it is about this house, but it automatically was creepy to begin with. Automatically. Anyway, after we cut back to the house, he's sitting there and Roderick says, the last thing my mother ever did was kill a very powerful man. And he looks up and Augie's like, why are you telling me any of this? Why? What does this have to do with anything? And he's just like, oh, well, because she's here. And Augie kind of tenses up for a second and just leans in and goes, you know what? This is a tactic. This is a smart tactic. You're trying to ruffle my feathers, knock me off my game. No, I'm not looking behind me. And he's like, you don't have to look behind you. She's there. And then we cut to what Roger's looking at, and you can see in the back. It's in the corner, and it's kind of hard to see. Like I said, I really wish they would lighten the scene up a little bit so you could see the ghost. But, yeah, she's back there. Mom's back there. Mom's chilling in the back. Mom was really there. And then, as the conversation continues on, he talks about the bloodline, his bloodline, making a statement saying that the door is always open. If you're my blood, you're my blood. The gate is if you're an usher, the gate is always open. Thus is why he had a bunch of different bastards by bunch of different women because for some strange reason, this man, even after hearing even after making the deal with Berna, he still wanted to stick his dick in anything that moved. Even Madeline made a joke about that, and Madeline was just like, no, he would stick his dick in anything that moved. Because that was Roderick. That is Roderick. But I do like that policy, though, that, hey, man, if you're blood, the gate's always open. I can kind of get it because, you know, we're family. We're all going down together. You know, this is the fall of House of Ushers, man. We're all going down. This ship is sinking. But it's just one of those kind of nice things I can't say about Roderick. The only nice, one of the fewer nice things. That and his love for Lenore. And you know, he does have a strong bond with family. He does have a strong bond with family. That's why he's doing what he can do to save his family. But Roger's still not a decent guy because of the fact that he runs this pharmaceutical company that is killing thousands and thousands of people, millions even. But again, I blame Madeline. Madeline. Anyway, he proceeds to tell Augie that he was impressed with the conversation at the courtroom, and that's just basically where everything he technically started at was the courtroom, and that he would have loved to see how this all played out because of what ended up happening. And so then we have kind of a flashback, and Roger says that as we're going to the flashback that this was probably the last and only times he ever saw all his family together and alive was on this day. So in the courtroom, we actually get to see all 6 kids very much alive, very much themselves, as Augie is in front of the courtroom doing opening statements talking about how the Usher family in 40 years has never got a speeding ticket, has never got a violation of any sort, has never been punished or just for anything they have done. And that today is the day that all that is going to change. And as he's going, like, this is a nice opening speech, by the way. Like, this is a lovely opening speech. But as he's going on about this speech, you can see that Mark Hamill, you know, Arthur's character, he's on the crossword in pen, just writing down. And he even makes a mention about that. He's just like, you can see their lawyer, Mr. Arthur Pym, who is doing the crossword puzzle, isn't even worried about this. He's even fazed by this because he knows he can get away with it. But not today, because today I have something that would shock everybody. And today is I have an informant that is going to speak out against this family. It's the informant in the family. And then suddenly the courtroom erupts and they're like, oh my God. And then, of course, all the family members start looking at each other like, what the hell? And then the judge brings everybody forward. This is something they never heard of. They're going to need to do a reset trial and all this stuff because nobody saw any of this shit coming. Especially not the Ushers. You then cut to them, you know, ordering the courtroom, and then cutting to the family all getting ready to go to this dinner. And this dinner is supposed to be this get-together that's always fun, by the way. They always have great get-togethers. According to Camille, they have great get-togethers. But, yeah, we cut kind of like between each family member to see their take and how they feel about each family. And some of it's alright. You know, of course, like I said, certain family members do not like each other. But you hear about this family dinner talk, and they're talking about, you know, who the informant is. Of course, Frederick's just like, you know, it could be anybody. You know, and there's something Lenore and him talk about with The Departed, about the word informant, because I think Frederick's confusing it with another word. Oh God, decoy, snitch, rat, something like that. And you get like a good feel of who Frederick, like, and that's something I like about this intro. You get a good feel of each of these characters, and you see kind of how boring and safe and smuckish Frederick is. You kind of just see him. He's over there playing a freaking bowl. He's bowling in his kitchen. First of all, he's bowling in his kitchen, but second of all, he's talking to his beautiful wife, and you know, just having like a casual conversation. You then, cut to, let's see, Verna. She is working on her heart mesh for this experimental thing, which is going to allow doctors to basically get a sense when someone might have a clot or a stroke, and it's supposed to keep the heart pumping when it's having problems with it. It's supposed to be like this high-tech technology that's supposed to like save people in the future and stuff. And you see her working on it, and she's talking about, who the informant might be and everything. And what's also great about this, I forgot to make a mention about this, but not only does it set up who these characters are, but it kind of sets up the episodes for these guys. Like with Frederick, you see he's a family man. You see him kind of, not geeked up, but kind of spazzing out a little bit. It's all going to lead up to somewhere. You then have Leo, who is on the phone, talking about the family dinner, and he's cheating on his boyfriend with this girl, and she's just going ham on him, and he hears him coming. He's like, "Oh, no, get out of my apartment, go," and the boyfriend comes in, and he's just like, "Oh, hi, baby, what's going on?" It's just a piece of crap human being. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You then got Camille, who is watching the news. She's in her room talking to her assistant. She's like, I gotta find out who this informant is, guys. Like, I need to know. It's probably Perry, that little shit. It's always him. Like, she does not like Perry. And then of course, she makes a mention about it could be Victorine. It might be her. Yeah, so you just see how much in control she needs to be. And then there's a comment about Juno. When they go through the list of names of people who could possibly be the informant, they're like, "What about Juno?" "Oh no, not that drughead." Like, damn, poor Juno. We then cut to Roderick as he's getting the table set for dinner and everything, and the doctor shows up and says, "Roger, I need to talk to you." And he's like, "Sure, what about?" And he sits down, and we don't get to see this conversation. We get told about it later on what ends up happening, but the doctor basically tells Roderick he's gonna die. He's only got months to live. He's gonna die, and it ain't looking good. But we don't know that yet. We then cut to Perry, and he's giving his pitch to the family. Now, apparently all the family members, even though they're an usher and they're blood and they're welcome to come in, but they want some of that money. They want that nest egg investment. They got to give a pitch. And they got to sell this pitch to dear old dad and sister Madeline, or Aunt Madeline to them. And it's got to be a good pitch. It's got to be something. Oh, how does Roderick say it? Let's see if I got. Being an usher is about ruling the fucking world. His exact words. Being an usher is about ruling the fucking world, not pop-up bars and cheap tequila. Like, he's got high standards. He's got really, really high standards for wanting the nest egg investment. So unfortunately, though, Perry's got this like pop-up nightclub idea, which I thought was a pretty neat idea. I like it. It's very rich. It's like a rich person thing. Only the exclusive people can get in. We sell top dollar this and that. Blah blah blah. But Madeline and Roderick aren't going for it. They think it's a stupid idea. And they tell him to go work on his idea if he really wants this money. And he runs off. And then Madeline's like, well, let's go ahead and get ready for this dinner. By the way, I don't think Perry's the informant. Like a lot of them know Perry couldn't be the informant. Like they want to say it's Perry because they don't like him. They don't like him at all. But we all know Perry's incompetent about being the informant. But Camille thinks it might be him. Maybe I think Madeline looks into it as well. Somebody looks into it and they find out that Perry's been spending less money on the card and more in cash. And it's Madeline who asked about that because she asks the question, do the Feds still pay in cash? I know they did back in my day. But after that wonderful rejection by Roderick and Madeline walks off, Roderick's sitting there, kind of, I guess, contemplating life, and out of nowhere, Verna appears in front of him and puts a drink right in front of him, and it freaks him out, so he jumps up, and it scares the shit out of him. Granted, I would be scared too if I saw something from my past like that. But as they're, after that, we cut to the dinner party, and everybody's sitting down. We got, the family, the spouses, the granddaughter. Arthur's there, and Arthur is passing out contracts. And of course, Camille makes that joke. Oh, I love family gatherings. We should do these more often. And something else Eric actually pointed out about this that I just thought was hilarious is when Arthur is handing out the contracts, he hits Tamerlane upside the head because she asks or says something stupid to Arthur, and he just hits her upside the head, but he does it super quick that so if you blink you'll miss it, but it's hilarious. But I love this scene because it just shows you just how desperate Roderick is to find the informant, and just how crazy this family is. So he's sitting there and they're reading over the contract, and it's supposed to be like a loyalty contract of we only deal with the family, we don't talk to people, you're not going to talk to people. They're like non-disclosure agreements. And basically they're just like, so what happens if we break this? Like, do we lose money? Are we cut out of the will? No, you're terminated. What do you mean by that? Eliminated. You'll be dead. We're going to kill you. Oh, well, yeah, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. And Roderick ends up standing up, though, at one point while everyone's talking amongst themselves. And because they're arguing about the contract, about who should sign it. Because some of them, I think it's like Victorine's girlfriend's like, I want my lawyer to look at it. Or not, that's okay. No one's got to look at it. And then, of course, Frederick's got an argument with it. So everyone's basically going back and forth. And Roderick steps up. No, it's not. It's Frederick who's having an argument with it. But anyway, Roderick steps up, though. And he makes an announcement saying that he will offer $50 million tax-free to anybody who can give him the informant. And once he has his hand on the informant, he's going to kill the informant. But basically, he puts out a bounty on his own kid's head with his own money. And it almost felt like a knifed-out moment where everybody's just like, who could have killed each other? And I thought that was actually a really interesting twist, because this is where I thought the story was going to go. I thought it would be more of a whodunit scenario. And, especially with all the kids dying, I thought it would be like, at the end we find out it was Roderick the whole time, or some bullshit like that. But no, after this, they go just straight into the supernatural shit. Like, they go straight into the supernatural. There is no guesstimation that it's definitely not one of the kids. It's definitely supernatural. But yeah, he gives out that, and everyone just kind of left there just like, oh my god, he did not just do this. He then we then cut back to them, where is this? Talks about we cut to them back in New York, not New Year's Eve. Cuts to him talking to Augie about New Year's Eve. And he talks about why New Year's Eve is his favorite holiday. Out of all the holidays, he talks about that it's his favorite because of the resolutions. He likes the resolutions. He likes the new part of a new year. And then we cut to the party of New Year's Eve back in 1979. We see a young Madeline, a young Roderick rushing on into a bar. Not like quickly rushing in, but they're rushing in, trying to lay low. They're talking about, oh my god, I can't believe we've done this. Let's wait till after midnight. This is a good place to stay out. Enough people that will be seen, but not crowded enough. This should be great. This is wonderful. They're on edge, though. We don't know what they have done. We just know they have done something, and they are worried as hell about it. So, as they're sitting down, the bartender, which is Verna, who we saw earlier, walks up, and it's just like, hi, it must be a fun night for you guys. Very busy night, huh? Because she sees, like, something on their hands. Looks like cement on their hands. And, she's super nice. And she gives them a free shot, and she's talking to them. And then, of course, there's like a small talk about politics. She's like, no politics at my bar, please. No politics. But she is very, very nice. And she introduces herself as Verna, and she talks about, New Year's. She's like, what do y'all want for the future? What do y'all want to make? What resolutions do y'all want to make? Kind of setting up the premise for the rest. And I love how they kind of draw out this party and how there's a whole build up to what they have done, and what the deal was. Because there's like a lot of plot twists in this here. Granted, though, if you pay attention, like Roderick tells you to do in episode 2, you'll notice a lot of things. But we're left wondering what happened that night. What happened that night in 1979? And she tells them that life will change. Your life will change. Tonight, it will all change. And, okay, right here. Roger makes a mention that everything's important. Everything he's telling Augie right now is important. Every detail is important to the story and to his confession. And we go back to the opening of the show, where he's at the funeral, and of course, like I said, he looks up and he sees Verna, and looks back, and then looks back again, and sees his kids standing there. And we then see him, getting ushered out into the car. And what's really great about this scene, this is something I loved about there's that stroke again. I'm going to eventually have one by the end of this night. I could tell. What I love about Mike Flanagan's work is that his jump scares are well built up and well deserved. He doesn't do loud stinging shit. He just does good scares. So this scare actually got me because I was not expecting this, because this was all a normal scene. So Roger comes out of the church. Of course, there's paparazzi outside taking pictures, asking questions. We got news reporters and all of this. And Madeline's nodding at him, standing kind of close. And we get to his car, and he looks around, looking at all the people, all the chaos, and he opens the car door. And as he's about to get in, we then cut to what's inside this vehicle, and there's a jester just sitting in this car, just looking at him, all creepy and everything. And he freaks out, and his nose starts bleeding and collapses back. And as he collapsed back, of course, the paparazzi then starts losing their mind. They're just like, oh my God, Roger Usher just collapsed. Oh my God, this is crazy. And as he's sitting there, there's a raven above him calling. And Madeline and Arthur and everybody's around him. And he's just laying up looking. He's not looking at Madeline or anybody. He's just looking up at the raven. And he's just like, it's time. It's time. It's like he just keeps repeating it over and over again. It's time, it's time, it's time. And that's how that episode ends. With just, it's time. I love that first episode. It sets up everything that's going to happen. Everything that is going to be foretold for the rest of the show. It sets up everything very, very nicely. It sets up the characters nicely. The atmosphere, the tone. It leaves you with a lot of questions. That first episode is really important when it comes to any TV show, because you want them to be hooked. And I was hooked. After that jump scare with the jester, I was like, I gotta watch this. I ended up binge watching this whole show by accident because I was so hooked into this show. But yeah, definitely love this episode. It's a good episode. It's a fun episode. It sets a tone for the whole show. And like I said, I love the fact that it fits not only the narrative of the Raven, because of the fact that it's about, what's the word I'm looking for? Remembrance. Carrying on even after death. Because the thing about the Raven is that you can interpret it in several different ways. And that was something I always loved about Poe's work, is that it's not always just the blood and the guts and the gore, but when you go past that, you look through his more meaningful works, his love poems, his sad stories, his heartbreaking stuff, you see into his soul, and you see that this is a man who thought a lot about life itself, and about even when you lose somebody, yes, you are losing a part of yourself, but you're still carrying on. And sometimes you need that reminder, that raven that comes knocking on your chamber door as a reminder. And when we all deal with that at some point, I'm sure there's something in life that just reminds you of somebody you care about, whether they're alive or dead. Like for me, anytime I see a blue jay. Now, for me, where I'm at in Georgia, I don't see a lot of blue jays. But when I see a blue jay, I think of Momo. Or not Momo, Meemaw. I think of Meemaw. Because when I was a kid, we saved this little baby blue jay that fell out of a tree. And that was a memory that's always stuck with me, you know, because I was like 7, 8 years old. And we took this bird in, we bathed him, stitched him up. Like, Meemaw showed me some compassion for animals. And that stays with me. So anytime I see a blue jay, I just think, oh, that's Meemaw. That's Meemaw right there. And that's what Poe, I feel like, is trying to say in a lot of his more saddened words. It's just remembrance, carrying on. Now, a lot of his other stories are about revenge, murder, mayhem, and destruction. Detective stories, even. But a lot of it's love stories, love poems, and just sad stuff. It's sad. It's truly sad. But yeah, I liked the first episode. I thought it was really good. It had me hooked from the moment. But let's carry on to my favorite episode, which I was shocked as hell about how good this episode was. Episode 2, Mask of the Red Death. So, we pick up with Augie back in 1979, and he's taking pictures of a grave that was recently robbed from. And it's not just the fact that it's robbed from, the body's missing. It's just gone. It's just gone. So he finds that suspicious. So he is taking pictures and he's getting yelled at that he shouldn't be there. So when he gets to his office, he's getting yelled at even more by his boss because of his unethical work practices. Because apparently he's bending the law a little bit, saying he's an officer and whatnot and who not. But in actual reality, he's just a fraud agency who really doesn't like this pharmaceutical company. Because he finds out that this drug, this pharmaceutical company, does trials on people, gets them killed, you know, and they end up like lying on the paperwork, forging signatures, so they're killing a bunch of people and getting away with it through not ready human trials, I'm assuming. But you see that Augie's investigating really hard into this pharmaceutical company, so he wants to take it down. We then cut back to the conversation with Roderick and Augie in present time, and they're talking about Ligadome. That's the name of the pill that the pharmaceutical company Fortunato create. Which, by the way, Fortunato, I thought was a great reference and nod to the cast of Mariago. Mariago, is that how you say it? Mariago or something like that? The one where basically the guy traps. Is it Fortunato or Fortuno, who's the one that's being trapped or is doing the trapping? I can't remember. But basically, this guy gets mad at this other guy because he insulted him. So he walls him up and chains him up alive behind a wall. Which I feel like that's also a very common thing for Poe. He likes to hide things behind walls and floorboards. Poe, are you okay? Has anybody checked Poe's house? Has anybody ever investigated Poe's house and looked behind walls and floorboards here? Like, seriously, I'm starting to be concerned for this man. But they talk about, you know, Lithodome and about how it's addictive and it's dangerous and it's killing a whole bunch of people. And that it's just a very addictive drug. And then as he's talking about this, Perry's ghost shows up and scares the ever-loving shit out of him. And it scares the ever-loving shit out of me too, because he like jump scares. Like I'm talking about, we're having this happens a lot. We're having casual conversations and then suddenly, boom, there's the ghost just standing right in front of you. Next camera shot, literally the next camera shot. Like you're looking at it and then boom, ghost. There's Perry though. And I want to say, when Perry's ghost shows up, it freaks him out. And I can't remember if it's this one or no. There's one of the ghosts when he shows up and it freaks him out. He starts yelling at them. And Augie thinks he's being yelled at by Roderick and not Roderick yelling at a ghost. Because Augie can't see the ghost. Well, except for one. That's at the end. But anyway, Perry, we then, after seeing Perry and kind of getting a idea of what happened to poor Perry, because we see him all burnt up flesh, blue, black, glossy eyes. He's just standing there looking at Roderick. We then cut to Perry, and I like this shot because I forgot who made a mention of this, but it's very reminiscent to how the episode ends. And I thought that was a good foreshadowing and nod to how the episode ends, because Perry is in bed with like a bunch of people around him. This man is a socialite who is addicted to money, sex, and drugs. That's it. Money, sex, and drugs is all he's into. And Perry's getting up out of this big naked pile of people. He goes to his kitchen. You see kind of how unhinged he is. Because you see his two partners? I guess that's what I don't know what to call some of these people that they're having sexual relationships with. Because they never clarify. Like with Perry, you don't know what the relationship is with these two. But there's two people that I guess he's, I don't know, the master of, because they're wearing collars and everything. Like it's super weird. I don't know how to describe it. But he goes and tries to find these eggs, these special eggs. And of course, one of the girls is just like, I don't know, babe, maybe you ate them or something. And he's like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't eat them. And then he grabs this fork and sticks it to his partner's throat. And it's just like, those eggs only come into season every 6 weeks. No, it was for 6 days every 6 years or something like that. And granted, this is one of those eggs that are like one of those rich, like only the richest people can get these shit. I don't know why. But he's very adamant about these damn eggs. And then he suddenly turns around, looks in the fridge, and goes, oh, someone moved them down here. And he picks them up, and then he starts cracking them open. Like nothing happened. And the partner's like, that's funny, babe. You really scared me for a second. Really scared you for a second. Does he do this on a daily basis? Should I be worried for your safety? I am worried for your safety. But they're talking about how, the dad didn't go for the idea and that is bullshit. And he's like, I don't need his money. I can do this myself. I'm an usher. I got this. And then he realizes as he's on a rant that he's late for this meeting. And he's like, oh, shit, I gotta go. Because apparently he's shadowing Frederick. That's the man you want to shadow. And Frederick's in a meeting right now with, I guess, like the FDA, CDC, I don't know. They're a bunch of pissed off lawyers, though. There's 6 lawyers. And they're all hounding them about these factories they own that they haven't gotten rid of that contain chemicals. And they're not held up to code and they need to be get rid of. And, of course, they're following the script. And Perry, being Perry, not paying attention, not caring, once he comes into these meetings, just sits down. And he starts going through the files. And he's like, hey, we own this? We own this. Are you making a statement that you're clarifying that you own this property? No, my brother's not saying that. Shut up, Perry. Before we demolish all of this, I really like this property. I think this is a great property. And Frederick finally gets, fed up with him because he's ruining this whole thing. So he grabs Perry and goes, Perry, let's go outside for a talk. And he shoves him up against the wall and he says, I know you're the right, you little shit. I know it's you. You're messing everything up. You're supposed to be shadowing me. And you're supposed to be following the script. And the script states that you have no knowledge of what's going on. That everything's being handled and taken care of. Just shut up and stay the hell up out of the way. Frederick rails into him. I'm not even gonna lie. Frederick rails into him. And I forgot what he called him, but it cracked Eric up. I should have wrote it down. But he calls him something like a Gucci knockoff something. And eventually, Frederick goes back into the meeting. Perry's just sitting there. And I guess he's really, really bothered by what Frederick said. It really annoys him. I think mainly just because Frederick called him the snitch. And he seems like that type who gets really, really upset if you call him a snitch and he's not the snitch. So he's got to show up that he's not the snitch. He's one of those guys. But he winds up going to the factory and he's showing it off to his friends. He's like, this is where we're going to have it, guys. This is where we're going to have the party. This is it, okay? Like, this is it. This is the greatest idea. We're going to have a pop-up club, 20,000 just to come in, 5,000 at the door. It's going to be the most exclusive, most VIP thing ever. Like, the actress that everybody loves is blowing the actual VIP, okay? It's going to be one of those parties. And they're like, well, what is this? What kind of theme do we want? What is this, a prom? It's just about sex and drugs. You know what? Make it a masquerade theme. And as he's talking about this, he looks up on top of this building and he sees a woman in a red dress just standing there, foreshadowing the future. We then cut to Vic and her girlfriend, Al, having a bit of a fight about this monkey that they did the surgery on. And it's not surviving. Every time they put this heart mesh into the monkeys, they're not surviving and they're dying. And Victorine's freaking out, and she compromises the test by pumping the monkey full of adrenaline. And of course, Al chastises her about that, and she's just like, "I really need this to work. Dad really needs this to work. I know we messed up, but we can get this. We can get this. We got this." And even Al kind of backs her up. And, of course, the dad really needs this to work because, like I said, we find out later on that he is dying. And so this is his idea to stop from dying. You know, prolong the inevitable that's about to happen. That's already kickstarted, basically. So after that, we then see Perry talking to Leo. And they're actually getting along. Perry and Leo seem to be... Leo seems to be the only one... let me rephrase that. Perry seems to be the only one Leo likes besides Camilla. Oh, not Camille. Yeah, Camille. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the hatred towards Victorine. I want to say Leo's kind of indifferent when it comes to Victorine. But he likes Perry and he likes Camille. But Perry's there and he's asking about... some drug hookups, some people to show up at the party. And I like what Leo tells him. Leo's like, I got you, bro. We got to stick together being the bastards and everything, but you're better than this. You're so much better than this. And he actually gives him some positively influence, some brotherly love. And I love that. Like I said, it's weird that you see most of the family, they don't like each other. So it's weird when you see them get along. And Leo just seems like the one that everybody just seemed cool with. Everybody just seemed to get cool with. And Leo just seemed cool with everybody else. Again, with Victorine, I don't know. He never made a mention about Victorine. But I know when it comes to the bastard kids, everybody liked Leo. Leo is just the chill one. Leo's just an asshole because he's a cheating prick who does nothing. Even Camille says that. He pays people to make his own video games. But I like what he tells him, though, about, you're better than this, but I will still help you. And that's some brotherly love right there. After that, we then cut to Camille talking to her assistants. And she really is hammering in the fact that she thinks Victorine is the snitch. She's like, it's got to be Victorine. She's the only one smart enough to do this. She's the only one who's got this. And her assistant is just like, what is your deal? Like, I hate my sister too, but what is your deal? And she doesn't go into too much detail about why she doesn't like Victorine, but like I said, I think it comes from jealousy and sibling rivalry. I think it's just the fact that they're both bastard children, but Richard was having more time with Victorine than with Camille, even though Camille was the PR person of the whole company. So then we come back to Perry, who's getting the party ready, and they're talking about the water lines, about the sprinklers, because he wants the sprinklers to turn on at midnight to start the orgy. He wants everyone to be high on drugs, drunk out of their mind, and as soon as the rain comes down, everyone's just going to get naked and have sex, or more naked than what they already are, because there's a lot of naked people in this place. I'm not going to lie, when we get to the party, there's a lot of naked people. Half naked, completely naked, kind of naked, nakedness is everywhere. But they talk about the sprinklers though, and he's just like, yeah, we can't get anything filtered through the city without permits and stuff. And he's just like, well, there's some tanks up on the roof. We could just hook all that in, and then boom, we got our sprinklers. Hot damn, we got this. High fives everywhere. Kind of a subtle nod and reference and stuff. And he talks about, and then after that, after the little the water line thing, what I really like about this transition is the cut of the joke. We all know the joke, and yet we never get to finish the joke. So Perry's talking about, the water line is going to be epic party and stuff and blah blah blah, and I forgot what his partner said to him, but he looks at him and he just goes, "Remember, guys, remember the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the." And then we cut to Richard, who is back to talking with Augie, and we then get a subtle jump scare by Perry's ghost. So we never get to finish the joke because because right before Perry jump scares him, like I said, Roderick. I don't know why I called him Richard. Roderick. Sorry guys. Sorry, Roderick Usher talks about the gold room. He's like, it's a little cartoon back in the day, and the cartoon, the little bubble. Whoever has the gold makes and then the jump scare by Perry. And then we cut to another beautiful little flashback. Ooh, flashback. And this one is Richard. Damn it, I did it again. I called him Richard. Roderick. I don't know why I want to call him Richard all of a sudden. I don't know. Have I been doing this the entire time? Have I been accidentally calling him Richard and not realizing it until this very moment? Roderick is showing off his new latest idea. It's a pill called Ligadome. And Ligadome is supposed to be this cure-all pill. It's supposed to be better than ibuprofen and Advil. It's supposed to, fix your back pains, your headaches, your migraines, your bad vision, your stuffy nose, your runny nose, your clogged ears, your sore throat. It's supposed to take care of everything. It's for the big stuff, the little stuff, the broken bones, the MRIs, all that shenanigans. That's what it's supposed to be. And, when when Roderick walks in, he's nervous. He's very, very nervous. But he is on point trying to nail this presentation. Of course, Rufus is not having it at first. He's just like, I thought this was to the county. Why are you here? Well, fuck it. You're already here. Just give me your pitch. And he gives out this wonderful pitch. And Rufus just looks at him and just goes, pharmaceuticals is such a messy business. You don't want to get in that technology is where it's at. This baby right here, definitely where it needs to be. I'm in over my head with this pharmaceutical BS now, man. I don't want to get into it. So basically, Rufus shit cans his idea. Just says it's not a good idea. I don't like it because pharmaceutical is just a messy business, and he don't go for it. So we cut to the next scene. And Roderick actually, kind of straight up just says he didn't go for it. Which is sad, because again, it was a good pitch. Like, he had a whole little slogan and everything. And you see that he lives kind of in a small, cramped apartment, one bedroom. He's got 2 kids. His sister's there. I don't know if she's living there or she's just visiting a lot, but she's there. And we see his beautiful wife. Now, Annabelle, like Lenore, is completely different from the rest of the Ushers. She is soft. She is gentle. She is light. Like Lenore, she is light. She is the angel that weighs on Roderick's side and tells him the good of the world. And is there to support him in every way possible. And I love her. And oh my God, their love and the actors' chemistry together is so beautiful, especially when he has his romantic moments and when he just says out a poem, which is the Annabelle Lee poem, by the way. It's the Annabelle Lee one. And Madeline, she's not happy with this. She's just like, you know what? Screw Rufus and screw men. Like, I work at this tech company. They treat me like garbage because I'm a woman. They don't want me being here. the world's gonna change, and I'm gonna change the world. And she is talking about her business. She's apparently into tech. She's back, especially back in 1979. That was a big thing. And she was like this big, highly smart woman in this big ass business, because in 1979 she's a woman. They're not taking her very serious. She's very mad about that. She wants to change the world. She even says that, I want to change the world. But she tells Roderick that they need to take Rufus down. Like, you don't just go in there and shake his hand. Rufus is that type of man that needs to be taken down. We then cut to Madeline as she's talking about the tech and how Rufus needs to cut down. You see Madeline, now older, talking to her granddaughter and asking her if she got, she's all done answering these questionnaires and stuff. And it turns out she's making an AI, like, friendship companion thing or something. It was basically taking Lenore, like Lenore herself, not like scanning her brain or anything like that, but basically making an AI person of Lenore inside of a computer that can talk to you and stuff. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because it does come around, which I completely forgot about. I'm gonna be honest. My first time watching this, I forgot about Madeline's whole tech thing. So when the ending came out about who's actually texting Roderick, I was just like, oh, and then that's when the Lenore thing happened. I was like, oh God, why would you do this to me? Broke my heart. But they're talking about that, and then Roderick comes in and wants to see Lenore and talk to her and stuff, and she's like, oh granddad, so good to see you, hugging and kissing and stuff. And he's like, let me talk to Madeline, sweetie, but why don't you and Juno get together and hang out? I would like y'all to bond. I'll be right back, and y'all just bond. And of course, a kid being a kid. And the thing with Juno is, it's rather obvious about her age difference. It's super obvious. Like, she's like 30, and Roderick's like, I don't know, 60? Maybe, give or take, a couple of years. It's not obvious. There's a big age difference between them. But Lenore looks at her and goes, so, how did you and Granddad meet? Oh, well, see here, child. I was in a horrible car crash and I lost my leg, which, by the way, time out, guys. Time out. The actress who plays Juno, I forgot to make a mention about this. The actress who played Juno, she literally lost her leg in real life. In real life, she lost her leg. I forgot what it was that caused it. It was an accident, I want to say, because Eric looked into this, because he was looking at it like, that's a really good practical effect. And looked into the actress. Turns out she actually lost her leg. So, yeah, that leg, that's not a practical effect. That's her actual leg. Anyway, on time. She sits there, and she's just like, oh yeah, I was in this horrible car wreck, and I lost my leg and everything, and then they took me to the hospital, and I was given this crazy amount of Lithodome, and I felt really, really good. And everybody was looking at me super weird, because I shouldn't be sitting up, but I was sitting up just fine, and everything was fantastic. And then Roderick came in, and I was just like, well, who is this? And this is the man that created the drug. And I was like, you're the guy who created this amazing drug where I can't feel anything? Man, I could just simply And she stopped. That's literally how she does the whole monologue. She's on like this quick, rapid, geeked out kind of rant. And then catches herself as she was about to say something inappropriate in front of Lenore. I love it. Anyway, we then cut to Perry going to Frederick's house, trying to give him some files about, I guess, the meeting he went to. There's that stroke again. The meeting he went to earlier with Frederick, he's got some files that he wants to give him. And instead of Frederick opening the door, it's his wife. And he's just like, so, Morella, I'm having a party and a get-together. Why don't you come to it? Release that inner goddess that I know is in there. I'm sure, you find somebody who loves you and do that crazy kinky shit you like. And there will be no one there to judge you. It will be masquerade themed, so no one will know who you are. No one will know. So once you come to this party, at first she rejects the idea. But I think what he said kind of gets into her a little bit because, again, like I said, Frederick, it's very boring, very basic, and she's a beautiful woman. I'm sure she's got some sexual fantasies that Frederick just doesn't scratch. Like, I'm sure she wants some, like, kinky, chained up on the bed, maybe a couple of ass slaps or something, some hair pulling. Frederick looks like that guy that would do missionary in under 3 minutes and think it was the best sex of his life. She probably wants some, like, crazy Gerardo shit, and he can't even last 3 minutes. But at first she rejects the idea, and she doesn't want anything to do with it, but we find out later on she's down for it. She's down for it. We then cut to Tamerlane and her partner and their weird sexual fantasy. Now, me and Eric and even my roommate Andrew were discussing this. We think this is a kind of cucking and voyeurism combined. Because her sexual fantasy is she hires a woman that looks kind of like her to reenact her day. Or let me phrase that. Reenact her having dinner with her husband. And Tamerlane just sits there and just watches this all. And we know she's having fun with herself. But yeah, it's like a weird voyeurism and cucking yourself. By cucking yourself in a way. Like, it's super weird. But again, to each their own when it comes to the weird kinks. Everybody's got their own fantasies and fetishes and stuff, so each their own. I may not understand it, but I'm sure somebody out there in the world does understand it. I just don't. I get the third person involved. That can get a little crazy. You got you're having a great time. You're having a fantastic time. But the fact that you're watching somebody else have a fantastic time with your husband and that turned you on, that's just weird. To me, personally, anyway. I digress, though. I digress. We then see Camille's weird sexual... This family has weird kinks. I'm not gonna lie. The family's got weird kinks. But we're with Camille, and her weird kink is she sleeps with her assistants. Like, straight up. Toby, and I can't think of the other... Granted, their name's not Toby. It's something else, but she likes Toby. She's like, Toby makes me laugh. But it's weird because, she's mixing business with pleasure. But she's just like... Casual conversation, talking about the day. They're giving the files, giving keys, and she's just undressing, and it's just weird, man. It's just weird. And they're talking about the monkeys, about how Victorine has monkeys that somehow are missing from the whole situation, and they can't keep track of it. And the rumor is Victorine is stealing the heart meshes out of the monkeys, chopping them up, and then walking them out in her designer bags. That's the joke, but we don't know if that's true or not. Camille doesn't care. She just wants to get kinky, so they start getting undressed. They lay on the bed. She undressed. And I noticed something, too. Her bra is reminiscent of Japanese bondage. Like, straight up, her bra. It's a great-looking bra, I'm not going to lie, but the weird kinks all the way around. We then see Frederick playing with, I would say playing with his daughter. They're making little toy ships in the bottle kind of thing. She's all dressed out to the nines, got a nice fur coat on. She's like, I'm out with the girls. All right, sweetie, have fun. Don't be out too late. Oh, you'll be fine, darling. You'll be fine. She goes to the party. Now, we're at my favorite scene. I love this scene. This scene is literally nothing but the orgy sex party from here on out. So we follow Frederick's wife into the party, and of course this is one of those high exclusive parties. So they're like, no cell phones, put your mask on, put everything in lockers, keep your wristbands on, all this shit. And she gets in, you see everybody having a good time. Perry, he's wearing like this robe with silk robes and boxes. and the room's decked out with strobe lights and music is blaring and everyone's having a great time. There's naked people. And Perry sees her and walks over to her and she's like, do I know you? Oh yeah, like they're acting like they don't know each other, by the way. They know who each other are, but he's trying to keep that mysterious factor. I don't know why she's going along with it too. But she's like, oh, I'm waiting for a drink. There's only one bartender here. And he's just like, well, why don't you find the guys with the red glow sticks around their necks? They got the good shit. Then why don't you head up to one of the rooms? I'm sure you'll have a great time there. And he tells her he'll meet her later, and he walks off. And she's just like, okay, yeah. She's all into it. She's really into the idea of banging Perry for some strange-ass reason. I don't know why. I guess it's that young sexual spirit animal inside of her that just wants some of that young blood. I don't know why. Oh, does it make it worse that she wants to have sex with his brother? But it's not just his brother, it's his half-brother. It's the bastard child. But anyway, we didn't see Perry up at the monitors looking at the security cameras, and he's like, this is it, guys. This is where the money's at. That person, that is the daughter of a senator. That person right there, is that who I think it is? Oh my God, yes. This is it. Blackmail. We got everybody. But she's the main one and points at Frederick's wife. And he's like, as soon as I screw that, I will have Frederick under my little thumb. And no one's going to be able to talk down on me anymore. All right, guys, let's light up. And he grabs some acid. And she's on acid. His other partner's on acid. They're on acid. I'm like, that's a fantastic time to do acid. Right in the middle of a club that terrible things are about to happen in. But as, they're tripping balls and everybody's going hard and heavy, Perry comes out, enjoying the club and the festivities, and then he gets distracted by a beautiful woman, blonde, wearing a skull mask, red cape. And I love the imagery here because in the story, The Mask of the Red Death, of course, I probably call it Prospero, but today's just going to be a stroke day. I'll say it again. Today's a stroke day. Prospero is hiding in his abbey with a bunch of other people from the Red Plague, the Red Death. And of course, he has 7 rooms with all different colors. And a person dressed like the Red Plague walks in. And at the end, he pulls off the cape and there's nothing tangible there. And then everybody dies. I like the fact that they incorporated the skull mask and the red cloak and stuff to kind of symbolize the Red Death itself. I like that, and especially the fact that, of course, the actress, like I said, the actress who plays her, gorgeous woman, gorgeous. I'm looking at her like, you gotta be like 35, like maybe 40 at the most. Like, you are a beautiful woman, because she's wearing not only this beautiful silk, beautiful cloak looking rope thing, but she's wearing lingerie underneath, and it's gorgeous on her. She's gorgeous. But she walks through, she looks at Perry, and Perry's smitten with her, and Perry's trying to follow her through the crowd and stuff, and you see Morello, and she goes to go for Perry, but then kind of fights her urge back, like, no, let him do his own thing. And Perry follows Verna all the way upstairs to a room that's red. And that's kind of ironic in the symbolism, because when Prospero confronted the Red Death at the end of the story, I think they were in the Red Room. But he's talking to her, and he's like, do I know you? No, I don't think. No, wait, how did it go? Do I know you? Yes, you do. No, I don't. I specifically invited everybody on this list. I handpicked everybody. You're the only one I don't know. And he leans down and he's like trying to get laid by her. He really wants some of that. Like, he really wants her. And she warns him and says, it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be this way. It could be different. Why does it have to be different? Oh, hang on. What did she say? There is still time to stop this. There's always consequences there's always consequences. You will die, but you don't have to die here. Kind of warning him and letting him know that you don't have to take a whole bunch of people with you when you die. But Perry is so into the sex and the drugs and what he wants to do, he does not heed her advice or her warnings. And he's just like, nah, just let it happen. Let everything come to fruition. Because she asks him, oh, what was it? Is it everything you ever wanted? And he's like, almost. Well, almost is the best. It's almost like edging yourself. Like, and I love that. I really do. But after the warning and he doesn't listen, she smiles at him and walks off, and he goes to follow her, and she just disappears. Well, Perry then goes back to enjoy the rest of the party. He's going towards the middle crowd and everything, and then we see the security guards just standing there, and Verna's behind them whispering something in their ear. And of course, Morello, she's looking at all this, and she sees Verna talking to the guards, and then suddenly Verna's behind her, and we hear what she's finally telling the guards. You need to leave now. You need to go. And basically everybody else goes to leave. And she thinks about it for a second, like, maybe I should leave. But her urge to get on the hand with Perry is far stronger than the urge to live. The will to live is not strong, okay? The will of the mission. She did not have the will of the mission, okay? But she stays. And then this is, oh my God, I love this scene. I love everything about this scene. Okay, so doors closed. Everything locked in. We got 9 Inch Nails Closer, an awesome remix playing in the background. The lights are going. Everybody's dancing, having a good time. Perry's looking at his watch. He gives the heads up to flip the switch. And as the song's going, you hear, it gets me closer to God. They flip the switch, and there's a shot of looking down at Perry as he's looking up with his arms gated open, like he's ready for that rain to come down and splash on him to start this orgy. But the moment that drop hits him and hits everybody, people start noticing there's a problem. People's skin starts burning, and as it caves down more, cascades down, the water sprinkles are full blast. No one's thinking about switching the fucking switch off, but I digress. The acid rain comes down, and as it's coming down, the song Closer is still playing, by the way, the whole ending of the song where it's just the music and not the words. And of course, because it's wet, is getting all the, which by the way, they didn't think about that. When it came to the sex orgy, they were thinking about the rain, but they weren't thinking about the electronic devices and about how wet they were going to get. And unfortunately, during this chaos, of course, everything gets wet. So we got sparks now flying. We got some of the lights working, some of them not, and you just get this nice shot. As 9 Inch Nails Closer is playing, you see people screaming, just the flashes of people melting, their flesh is melting. You hearing the sounds of them melting. That was just disturbing. Very, very disturbing. And you just see like people like clawing and like banging at the doors. People trying to hide underneath other people. And, like I said, we got flashes of people because the lights are going in and out. We got sparks flying, the lights, and then suddenly everything at the end of the song just goes black. Everything turns black. There's just a ray of red light shining in the background. There's smoke, and all you see are just the piles of melted and fleshy people together, reminiscent of the opening of the episode with Perry, like I said. You see everybody on top of each other, just melted together, and Verna walks up to him and leans down as he's still alive, gasping for air, just she leans down, she kisses him. He dies. She puts the mask on his face. She disappears, and we're left with this overshot view of everybody melted together with a red light shining through. The end. I love that episode because of this scene. The whole sex orgy scene was totally worth it. I thought it was going to be hammy and cheesy and kind of stupid a little bit, because anytime they want to do like some kind of crazy sex thing in movies and TV shows, it's always over the top and hammy. But this was done so well, and just that scene, just the Nine Inch Nails song playing, it's just ironic. First of all, it's closer. It's closer. And anybody who knows that song knows what that song's about. And if you don't know, let me tell you, it's literally about fucking. That's it. That's all that song's about. I want to fuck you like an animal. That is literally a line from that song. I want to fuck you like an animal. And it was just done so well. And the practical effects were done, the sound effects. And like I said, even though I knew what was about to happen, I was still shooketh. Because, like they said in the ending of the last episode, you know, everything's important. So I started paying attention to everything going on, and while Perry was going through the files, like, oh, this is a nice place, I was listening to the conversation. They're like, there's toxic chemicals here. I'm like, I feel like that's gonna come back in the future. And then they were like, yeah, we can't fix to the water system, so we're gonna head up into the water tanks. I'm like, water tanks? Chemicals? Water tanks? No. Like, seriously, I was like, no. And then the whole time, there's no doubt my mind was about to happen. I was just like, no, they're not going to. No. And as soon as that flip was switched and that rain came down, I was like, oh my God, just on the ground. Like, because I was watching it all on my phone. I was laying in bed. And Eric's in front of me playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And you can just see me just go, oh my fucking, like, just roll over. I was, like, losing my mind. Because it was crazy. It was crazy. But I love it. That's why I hold this episode so high up. It hits the criteria of what the episode is about. Mask of the Red Death. The story is everything I ever wanted in a retelling of the story. Yes, he is technically hiding from a plague, which is Verna, who is here to kill him. He's hiding, but he doesn't know he's hiding. But the fact that everybody got melted alive like the plague would do back in the day, kind of bubble your skin up, give you leprosy, I thought that was just nice. But enough gushing about that fantastic and wonderful episode. Let's move on to the next episode, which is still really good. It's still really well done. Murder the Rue Morgue. We got everything set up for Camille to deal with this BS. So, we have now, that same night, after the party, after the incident, we're left wondering if Morella's okay. Which, I thought she was dead, by the way. When I first watched this episode, I thought she was dead until this episode, actually. So I should say, in the second episode, I thought she died at the end of it. I was, like, convinced. I was like, there's gotta be, she had to die. But I was still kind of holding out because we technically didn't see her die. And we all know the whole trickery when it comes to seeing someone die. We have to actually see them die. We actually saw Perry die, so we know he's dead. We don't know if she is. But we start off with Arthur getting clearance to go into the building to take a look around, because he's got that kind of clearance and that kind of power, and he wants to see, what he can grab to keep the family safe. So he goes in, and he's walking through this shit like it's casual, like it's a Tuesday, Sunday, like a Tuesday stroll almost. Like a Sunday night drive or something like that. I don't know. He's too casual about it, though, but it does tie in with his backstory. But as he's looking around, he sees the mask on Perry. He finds Perry. I don't know how he knew that was Perry, but he knew it was Perry. He grabs the mask, grabs Perry's phone, sees the cameras, and then as he goes to walk away, Morello grabs his leg. She's still alive, by the way. I don't even know how she's still alive, but she's still alive, and she's like, help, just help. And he's like, we got a live one in here, so, and then everyone's got to go save her. Don't ask me how she's still alive, but she's the only one that's still alive. I wouldn't want to be alive, to be honest. If I was her, I would want to be dead. I would not want to survive that BS. But we then cut back to the present day with Roderick and Augie talking. And of course, he confirms what we already know about the chemicals and the water tanks, that he was hiding them for the fines and for the jail time and for the problems that would cause. But he did plan on getting rid of them when he demolished the building because nobody would pay attention. And here's the kicker. Because this is something Augie said to him when investigating the pharmaceutical company. He said no one would pay attention to stuff, the chemicals coming in and out because of this place is being demolished. Things are coming in and out all the time. So I thought that was kind of ironic that he was using Augie's own words against him. But then we cut to the question: why did the staff leave? Why did the staff leave? Because what they're talking about, oh, this was a horrible accident, none of this this only could have been prevented if Perry wasn't a dumbass. If Perry would have paid attention and not done what he done, all this could have been avoided. But no, Perry couldn't pay attention, so now we're here. And it was just a terrible, tragic accident. And if one thing still stands, though, why did the wait staff leave? And that leaves you wondering, why too? We as the audience know why, because we saw it, but the characters don't. We then cut to Frederick. We then cut to everybody learning about the situation, about the chaos at the party. And Frederick learns about his wife and about what's going on, that he needs to get to the hospital. And the family is, of course, fighting at this meeting after Frederick goes to the hospital and finds out what's going on, and he's just questioning, what's she doing there, what's she doing there. Now suddenly they gotta have a meeting, so this man's having a spiral spin, and this is the start of his spiral spin. And as in the meeting, they're arguing about who's going to take care of the PR for Perry. Roderick wants somebody else to take care of it, be outside the family, but Camille really wants to do this. It's very adamant that they need an angle right now because they're getting torn up in court and they need some sympathy points. So they had this whole angle where it's, Perry, the falling prince, which is ironic because of the last story. Mask of the Red Death, Prince Prospero. So they're going through this whole angle, and she's just like, it's going to work. Do we remember where he did all those charities? He didn't do charities. That's why we have a charity division, so we can put a face to the charity and say he's doing charity. But he is the fallen angel, the falling prince, and we got him, and he was a good guy. And they're going to blame somebody else for the party and say it was one of those druggies or somebody else that's a crook. Perry's just an innocent, simple bystander, and that's it. And that is the angle they're going for. And you know what? Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. And again, it shows you how clever Camille is about presentation, about being a PR person. In fact, that she could take Perry, this socialite who has a drug problem, a sex problem, and is just a sociopath. She's going to turn it around and make him look like a saint because they need the good PR. They need the good publicity. So as that's going on, Lenore's heading to the hospital, and you see an argument between Frederick and Roderick about how this is kind of all Frederick's fault. He's just like, if you would have demolished this months ago, like I said, get those boys down there from Jersey, take care of this, none of this would have happened. Your wife wouldn't be here. Hi, pumpkin. It was one of those situations. But yeah, no, it's just everyone's blaming, or let me phrase that, Roger's blaming Frederick for all of this because of the fact that he should have really took care of this like months ago. And this is why Roderick looks down at Frederick, and Roderick doesn't really support his son as much as he should have, to be honest. And he even says that during the dinner scene in the first episode, where he makes a comment saying, marrying her was the smartest thing you've done, which makes me think that anything Frederick's done, he's not impressed by, especially the fact that he's a suck-up, and I think Roderick knows this. Roderick knows this. This is why he blames him and doesn't look to him for much. Like, to be honest, as the official heir, and the head honcho, the eldest, and also a man. He should have been treated a little bit differently, but because he's Frederick, he's treated poorly. And that's okay, because I don't like Frederick. Trust me, by the end of the show, you don't like Frederick either. But, Camille, we cut to her still digging around about what's going on with Vic, with the monkeys. She's watching Fox News, and I love this scene because as she's watching the Fox News, she's like, come on, I just need someone to turn this around. And somebody's talking to Augie, who's on the camera, and they make a mention about, the death of Perry, and he's like, well, remember, guys, they're still on trial, so that doesn't excuse what's going on. Oh, so Perry's death was the family's justice, huh? And then puts the microphone up, and Camille's just like, yes, that's why I love Fox News. Send them an edible bouquet. Do we really want to send them an edible bouquet? No, you dumbass. You know you send edible bouquets to people you don't like. What was funny about that was Eric looked at me and went, hey, I like edible bouquets. They're delicious. And this is why I love my man. This is why I love my man. But they still need to they want to look more into what's going on, though, with the monkeys and why they're missing so much. But what's really nice about this scene, and really interesting about Camille's character development and why I think she doesn't like Perry, is that her assistants look at her and go, hey, we are sorry about your brother. And they kind of walk off, and she kind of sits there like, huh? My brother's dead? Like, she literally has that look like she has no clue that her brother's dead. Like, she doesn't care. Like, she does not care about Perry at all. Like, she does not care at all. And like I said, that says a lot right there. Which just that look like, huh? Like, what do you mean you're sorry? What are you sorry for? My brother's dead? Oh, well, who cares? So after that, we then see Vic and her girlfriend, and they're talking about just what's going on at this moment, because when she comes into the building, of course, it's paparazzi all outside. She's being overwhelmed. She's seeing the doctor's office. And for her, it's the complete opposite of how Camille takes this. Camille, of course, like I said, she's like, I don't give a shit that, my brother died. Victorine, on the other hand, she sits there and she actually has a moment, like a breakdown moment of crying. Like, she's really, really upset about this. And then as she goes to walk away, she runs into Verna, who is disguising herself this time as an older woman with heart problems. And she, of course, she's apologetic. I'm sorry, it's just craziness. I'm trying to, get these files to these doctors. And of course, Victorine's looking at this and like, well, what's your problem? Oh, I have a heart problem. And, well, I'll make sure the doctor gets this right away. And you thinking, this is nice. Maybe this is a test. Maybe she'll pass the test. Maybe she will pass the test. She won't die a horrible, vicious ass death. No. Maybe she won't die horribly. No, Victorine just looks at that, starts taking pictures of the file because she's already got plans and emotions. She already got plans and emotions. Which, I don't feel bad about her death. She was willing to do this to an actual person. Fuck her. Fuck her for sure. Because remember what I said about how I feel that Verna takes everybody and their own, basically has them either choose to have a nice peaceful death or the horrible death they wind up getting. Like I said with Perry, again, Perry's an asshole, yes. Perry's a druggie, yes. Perry is psychotic, yes. Has Perry really done anything wrong, though? Has he cheated on anybody? No. Has he murdered anybody? No. Has he covered anything? No. He's literally just an idiot teenager. He's literally a dumbass. That's it. That's his only crime, just being a dumbass. So yeah, Verna was going to be a little nice to him and be like, no, sweetie, you could die somewhere else. You don't have to die this horrible, painful, acid rain death here. But he didn't listen. Camille, she didn't listen to hers. Neither Victorine. Neither Leo. So, anyway, I digress. After that, we then cut to Camille talking to Leo. She goes to see Leo, and he's like, hey, you want to stay? I'm having this party, you know, because he's got his own way of grieving. He's going to black out and grieve. And she's like, bro, I don't need you fucked up right now. Like, we got press conference. I got to get you ready for the PR. We got to do this. We got to do that. And he's having a freaking meltdown. And Leo's just looking at her, and she's like, you're fucking high, aren't you? Yeah, I took an edible about 30 minutes ago. You want one? Actually, yes, I would. I love that. I love it because that would be me right there, just having a freaking meltdown. And if someone offered me an edible, I'd be like, you know what? Yes, I will take that edible. But literally, as she takes the edible, they sit down and they're talking about when they first met dear old dad. She's like, Perry was 16. I was 20 and you were 18? Yeah. Yeah, so who was more the lucky ones? Who was more the lucky ones? We then, have a bit of a talk, though, as well about the spouses. And I noticed something about them that Camilla says that is kind of true. Everybody's spouses is something... They're basically using them just for something, you know. I don't know what Frederick's using his wife for. Maybe stability, not losing his mind, that perfect family, I don't know. But with, Leo, he's not satisfied, but he still wants to keep up the facade of a perfect, happy little life. So he's got his boyfriend that he's just basically using. He even says at one point that he's got a boyfriend who doesn't even know he's dead yet. Like, that's sad. That's a sad way to look at your relationship. And then, of course, Tamerlane, her boyfriend, or her husband, Will. Oh, God, what's that name? It's named Will or Bill? Is it Bill? I think it might be Bill. But her husband, she only uses him for his looks and because he's the face of Goldbug. So they talk kind of mad shit on everybody's partners here. And it does kind of ring true that I feel like they are using a lot of their partners. I mean, hell, look at Roderick. He's using Juno. He doesn't love Juno. He even says it. Actually, okay, he never says it outright that he doesn't love Juno. But he doesn't deny the fact that he only married her because she was like a successful case for the drug. But after that, she's like, I gotta go, I got things to take care of. He's like, you sure you don't want to stay for the party? No, I'm good. You have fun. Blackout. Blackout twice for me. She leads off. And then we cut back to Roderick and Augie having their conversation again. And this is where we had this amazing lemonade speech. I love this speech. So, he's talking about denial. About how does it go? Because there's two things he brings up about Leo's part. Denial and something else. But he ends up saying, do you know how an usher makes their money? We don't own things. We lend things. We borrow things. It's like lemonade. When life gives you lemon, and of course Augie's like, you make lemonade. No, you don't make lemonade. And he goes on this spiel, and he says, how does it go? When life gives you lemons, you don't make lemonade. You make a recession for lemons. You make it to where lemons are selling the most hardest resources to find, that everybody wants a lemon, but nobody's got their hands on lemons. So then you mark up the price of it, basically marking up the demand for lemons, so you mark up the price for lemons. So then suddenly you start marketing lemons. Lemons are where the world's at. Lemons is where it is. You show your love, you give the girl a lemon. You don't give her a diamond ring. You know what? It goes on for a good minute. It's a fantastic monologue. I swear. Look it up. Go and type in "Follow the House of Usher" lemonade monologue. I'm sure it'll pop up. But he goes on to say, you market it. You tell people, lemons is where it's at. Hashtag this is lemon. Lemons are everything. Hashtag lemon life. You mark that shit up. You get everybody buying it. You sell it out. You stock everything out. You buy out. You sell out. You move out. Then you make yourself fucking lemonade. I love that speech though. Like straight up. Like I wish I would have wrote down the entire speech. But it's such a great monologue. Like, it's a wonderful monologue. And again, I never thought I would enjoy a monologue about lemonade. Like, straight up. And as he's talking about the lemonade speech, Camille then pops up. and scares the shit out of him a couple of times. Like, at one point, as he's talking, she popped up behind him and starts rubbing his shoulders, and he's like, okay, that's it, okay, yeah. And then the second time, he goes to get a refill of his glass, and then she pops up again, he throws the glass, and Augie's just looking at him, because remember, like I said, at one point, one of the family members show up and scare him, he starts yelling at him, and Augie looks at him and just says, you don't take that tone with me. You don't talk to me like that. I am not that person. You do not talk down to me. And he apologizes because he realizes he was yelling at Augie and not the ghost. So he's like, I'm sorry. I respect you. I really do. Like you are really, I really respect what you have to do and what you got to say. So he apologizes. But yeah, when that happens, Augie looks at him. And he just looks back at Augie, and then casually just grabs another glass, refills, and sits back down. I love it. I really do. And like I said, the jump scares are what's really good, because you'll be having casual conversations. And like there's one of them where there's like a normal conversation, and then the glass shatters behind them. A body falls from the ceiling at one point. The ghosts just peer out just in normal conversations. And that's what I love about the jump scares. You don't see them coming. You expect them, but you don't see them coming, and I love it. I freaking love it. And then, on top of that, you spend a lot of time looking at this damn basement door. Because throughout the story, we hear some weird things going on in the basement, and even Augie makes mention of it. He's just like, hey, who's in the basement? Oh, that's Madeline. Is it? Yeah, it's Madeline. She's in the basement. Want to talk to her? No, I'm good. Okay. Yeah. But you're looking throughout that closet door, that basement door a couple of times because it's cracked open, so you're expecting to see something there. Which I don't think there's anything there, but maybe on my third watch through I might see something I didn't catch the first two times. Anyway, after that fantastic thing, we didn't cut back to it. No, flashback. Ooh, flashback. Rufus is a dick. That's literally how I start this sentence off. Rufus is a dick, and he stole Roderick's idea about the Ligadome and bought out this company. Because Roderick, like I said, laid out this fiery-ass plan about buying out this pharmaceutical company because they already got the tools and stuff. You can use that, you can market it. And Rufus already went ahead and did this and kind of ticked him off about it. And as he's mad and about to go ham on him, Rufus turns this shit around. This is how savvy of a businessman this guy is. He turns around and goes, "Are you a team player? Are you a team player?" "Yeah, I'm a team player." "Then you would know. You just brought me a fart. You brought me an idea. I can't do anything with ideas. But then I ran with this fart with you. I ran with it." He literally calls it a fart, by the way. He calls his idea a fart. He's like, "I ran with it, and I worked it, and I did this and that, and now you have $500. Your fart is now $500, and puts it down." It sounds comedic as hell, but coming from Rufus, who's a business savvy guy, it actually is a really good speech. I was just making it seem more comedic than what it actually is, because I'm saying fart a lot. But he's just like, you brought in a fart, and now I give you $500, and you're getting a 15% raise, and I'm bringing you up to the 4th floor, because when I need ideas, when I need that fart, I can come down to the 4th floor and not have to travel so far. And then, hey, maybe one day, you have an office next to mine. Basically buttering him up, making him feel good about his idea. Basically downplaying the fact that he stole this man's idea. Straight up, just downplaying the whole thing. So, of course, after so many promises and all that, he then goes back to his home and is celebrating. He got a promotion, 15% raise, $500. It's pretty good. And, his wife, Amberlyn, not Amberlyn, what the fuck? Annabelle Lee. I don't know why I said Amberlyn. Annabelle Lee is super happy about it. She's like, we can buy that medicine we need, and we can take care of things. Like, this is a really good opportunity for us. Madeline's not as impressed. Madeline does not care. Madeline sees vengeance and rage, and she's just like, no, this is not okay. This is not okay. And she starts manipulating everything. And she starts talking about basically about when they were in a foster care system and their first foster parents. And it shows you how manipulating Madeline can actually be. She proceeds to tell the story about, do you remember when we were first, our first foster parents? You remember how horrible they were? What did they do to you when you tried to stick up for us? They locked you in the closet, right? They locked you in the closet. What did I do? You sucked up. I didn't suck up. No, I sat there. And I planned. And I worked with her. And I helped her out. And then sooner than later, eventually, she wasn't hiding things from me anymore. Because I was telling her how to save some money here and there. And when she least expected it, who did I call? You called social service. I did. And she didn't even know it was me until she had been put in the back of the car with the handcuffs on. She didn't know it was me. So you need to do the same thing. You need to go up there. You need to shake his hand. You need to play nice. Well, you're going to wait for your opportunity to take him down. Again, she does not like Rufus. She does not like him. And, of course, Annabelle leaves. She's just like, guys, why don't y'all be happy? You got your promotion. You're doing good with your tech thing. I'm sorry you quit because the guys fucking suck, but let's all be happy. Now, Annabelle leaves, coming in as that beautiful, bright spot we all love that no one listens to. But then, after that beautiful little flashback, we cut back to Leo, and he's waking up from his party. And he looks horrible. He's got claw marks on his face. He's covered in blood. He doesn't even realize it until he gets orange juice. And he sees the blood on the orange juice and looks down and sees he's covered in blood. And you're thinking, oh my God, he killed his boyfriend. That's what I thought too. And then, of course, he runs into the bedroom, opens the door. Boyfriend passed out. So he's like, who the hell did I kill? And he starts looking around and I realize he killed the cat. Pluto. I forgot to make a mention about this because no one really talks about Pluto. I think he got brought up at one point with Camille during the conversation. Like, oh, you own a cat now? Well, technically he owns the cat. And also, Camille likes the fiance. She likes him. She likes him. She's like, I like him. He's nice. He does good. But he ends up killing the cat, Pluto. And you see his dead mangled corpse, and Leo freaking out. He cleans it up and discards the body before anybody sees this. And he's playing, he's playing dumb. He's playing clueless. Like, I have no idea where this cat's at. I then cut to Lenore. After Leo and his boyfriend talk about their missing cat, because they're like, oh no, after that party, I can't remember anything. What happened to Pluto? I don't know. Maybe she accidentally got out. Who knows? Oh, I'm so saddened by her sudden missing. I have no idea where she could be. That bullshit, Leo. We got to Lenore, and she wants to see her mom. So, she eventually kind of goes to the room. I don't think she's supposed to be in there, but she sneaks in anyway, and she sees her mom freaking out, and she's ripping the bandages off her head, and it's freaking Lenore out. She's screaming for help, she's like pushing the red button, like, help, we need help, Mom, what are you doing? So now Lenore is freaking scarred for life, that poor child, like straight up. We then cut to Victorine. She's calling Verna as that heart patient, and it's just like, I was looking over your medical files, and the doctor thinks you'll be an excellent candidate for this new human trial we're working on for this heart mesh thing and blah, blah, blah. Basically laying out the foundation for her downfall. And after saying that she thinks she's perfect and all that, I feel like, honestly, from some of the reaction, Victorine might be having second guesses to a degree about whether or not she really wants to do this, but she's under so much pressure by her father because, I don't know if I made a mention about it, but a couple of times, Roderick and her have talked about the heart mesh, and he really wants her to do it. Like, he's really pushing her to do it. He's like, when are human trials going to start? Because if it ain't going to start anytime soon, I'm just going to pull the plug on it now. And she's like, they're just starting soon. I promise. So, she really, really, really wants this done. So she's willing to go behind the back of her partner and I guess of her ethical practice to do this. So I feel like she does have a bit of a should I do it kind of moment, but she still just lays everything out. She still just wants to go ahead and do it because she wants to do this for her father. Not knowing that her father is dying, but she's doing this because he really wants this. Because sadly, I don't think he tells any of the kids that he's dying. I think Madeline's the only one that he ends up telling. We then cut to Camille, and she is asking about, getting the keys to get inside the Rue Morgue. She even talks about the Rue Morgue. I forgot to make a mention about this earlier in one of the conversations about the Rue Morgue. She's like, do you know why it was called, it used to be called the Usher something? Usher's facility or something like that. But then, Daddy got smart and decided to change it to the Rue, but we kids knew exactly what it was called, and it was called the Rue Morgue for a reason. It's not really called the Rue Morgue, but the initials on the building are Rue, R-U-N, for Roderick Usher. Enterprise or something like that. But she's asking about, where the file's at and everything. And he's just like, they're right here. And she's like, okay, that's fantastic. We'll talk more about this later. Right now, I just want to starfish and just not think about anything. And then she just starfishes on the bed. And her sister is sitting there just like, well, we need to talk to you about something, actually. And she's like, what? And then you just see them grab each other's hands. And she's like, no. You ain't not doing this. You're seriously doing this. And they're like, yes, don't say y'all are in love. Don't say y'all in love. Okay, we can work with this. Okay, that's fine. Just get in the bed. Okay, we figured this out. And they're like, no, we don't want to do this anymore. We're a thing. And she's just like, it's in your contract. You knew when you signed up for this, I needed particular things from my assistants, and y'all were more than happy to do these particular things when I was cashing y'all's checks, when I was doing this. Y'all were willing. You know what? Like, she's having a meltdown about them in a relationship. Like, I'm not even joking. She's like freaking the hell out about them being in a relationship. And she tells them that basically because they're in love, she can't look at them saying without laughing. And then she makes a comment, saying, Toby? My name's not Toby. Well, it is Toby, because Toby makes me fucking laugh. So you are Toby. But you know what? That's fine. I am just going to give you y'all severance pay and call it. What we're saying, we're not quitting. We just don't want to do the sex anymore. No. Y'all read the contract. Y'all know what I asked for. So y'all want to be in love and all this shit. Just go. But just remember though, when y'all are together in bed and one of y'all make a weird fart sound and you look at each other, remember, y'all gave all this up. Y'all did this. Now get the fuck out. So they drop the keys off and they kind of just leave, never to be seen again. Those are some smart assistants. But that's something else I noticed too, as well as that all the family members wound up doing before their deaths, is basically, except for Perry, basically they all pushed their partners away. Anybody they were with sexually, they pushed away. Which I thought that was kind of interesting. So after that, we then cut to Tamerlane and her boyfriend getting ready for one of their nights out. And when you know, Verna is there as the new girl. Her name is Candy. That's Candy with an I, by the way. And she puts on this performance of a lifetime. Like, she starts automatically, like, just gets into it. She's like, oh, your chicken carbonara, I really wanted you to do this. I was going to text you about it. And, I'm glad you did this. Let's not think about Perry. Let's not worry about it. How was your day, dear? And she's all into this. Like, Tamerlane's just like, yes, please, yes. Oh, yeah, continue. Super weird. But then we cut back to Camille. She shows up at the Rue Morgue, and she's about to walk in, and she can't get into the door. And she looks at the security guard, and when you know, the security guard is fucking Verna. Sitting there, and she's just like, this doesn't have to be it, Do you know who I am? So open this fucking doors. You don't, though, because I own you. I can fire you. I can rehire you. Like, she goes off on Vernon. And Vernon's just like, that's cool. I know who you are. I'm just saying you don't have to do this, you know? You don't have to be like this. Well, when I pay you to care, then you can care. Other than that, open this fucking door. Alright? Like, I like the conversation, Grant. I'm not saying much about it, but there is a decent conversation where Verna does try to talk to Camille about not going into the room. She is literally adamant, saying, you don't have to do this. You can walk away. And I think, again, it goes back to what I was saying about Perry. You know, the worst thing that little shit did was be a little shit. He's a little dumbass. Camille kind of the same way. The worst she did was be a bitch. Like, that's literally the worst she did. Like, she wasn't, you know, like, murdering people. She wasn't cheating on people. Yeah, she threw out her 2 assistants because they were in love, but she's like, you know what? I can't even look at y'all without laughing anymore, so get the hell out. So, I don't see her she's still a bad person. Like, again, the entire Usher family, they're all bad people. But they're like the lesser of the bad people, if that makes any sense. The lesser of the evils. So, I feel like Verna is trying to talk to her and tell her, there are other ways that you could die. This is not it, but, you know, she doesn't listen. She goes in anyway, and she storms in. The moment she gets in, she sees all the monkeys in the cages, and she starts taking pictures. And as she's taking pictures, Verna appears. And as Verna appears, one of the gates also open too. And Verna's just like, interesting thing, isn't it? You know, this was outlaw back in the day, but if you're rich enough and powerful enough, you can get around all this. And of course, Camille's just like, you know, who the hell are you? You know, what do you want? What are you doing in here? And again, even Verna herself wants to know what Camille's problem is with Victorine, because after she makes the comment about, you know, who are you, what do you want, she looks at her and goes, what is, seriously, your problem with Victorine? Like, what did she do to you? What is it about her? And then she jumps on the counter, kind of animalistic almost. And you see she's got the glossy blue and black eyes, you know, just kind of shimmering through the lights as she's walking. And Camille's like backing up against this wall as Verna, being extremely creepy, animalistic on this table, is like, is it jealousy? It's because he wants to spend time with you. Oh, hang on. Let's see. Verna jumps on the counter and tells her that the hatred comes from the fact that Victorine is more of the chosen one, more well-liked than she is, and that it is jealousy. And she continues on and on about how this all could have been different. Let's see. Hang on. I'm trying to read my own handwriting here, and it got a little sloppy because I was writing in the dark too, which does not help my handwriting. It says, "Mother, and you're not is something." Okay, I wrote it down right here, and I can't even read my own handwriting. But yeah, basically hammering down the fact that what I was saying earlier about the jealousy is the fact that that Roderick is looking more towards Victorine. It keeps Victorine a more higher prestige out of all the bastard children. So I think it's definitely jealousy and frustration that she is like the golden bastard child and Camille's not. She then continues on and kind of mimicking the monkeys, by the way. She undoes her shirt a little bit, and you see that she's got the surgical scars like the rest of them have, and you see her heart popping out with the little heart mesh thing, and she now is like, she is the monkey. She's like possessing the monkey almost, and she's like, this is all a lie. What she's done to us is all a lie. It's all messed up. This could have happened differently. You could have been in bed. It could have been gentle, but it had to be like this. And the entire time she's talking, by the way, she's getting more and more aggressive, more front. Like I said, very animalistic, very animal-like, you know, just kind of, very up in her face. And Camille, she's freaking out. She's like holding her man, like, oh my god, oh my god. And as soon as Victorine, as soon as Verna says that, and it kind of, throws everything in Camille's face about the truth that, what Victorine's doing with these monkeys and what her true feelings are towards Victorine. Camille just looks at Verna and just goes, fuck it. Pulls up her camera phone, takes a picture, and flashes the monkey in front of her, and then the monkey mauls her to death. Just, fuck it. Yeah, she says, fuck it, I did mine. Fuck it, I did mine. Her famous last words, fuck it, I did mine. Takes the picture, monkey mauls her to death. Next morning, crew members walk in, they see Carmilla just on the floor. Sprawled out, dead. Monkey got blood all over his face. He's done fucked her up. End of the episode. Now, was that a really good episode? Yes, that really was a fantastic episode. Absolutely loved that. I love the whole the Rue Morgue story, because this one's kind of hard to adapt because of how crazy the premise is. The fact that it takes place in Paris, and it is about, I want to say, a chimpanzee who breaks out of a traveling circus or something and winds up going into these prostitutes' rooms and killing her and her daughter. And it was one of like the more fun detective stories, but it's kind of really hard to adapt because just how goofy the premise is. A chimpanzee breaks out of a zoo or a traveling circus and kills 2 people gruesomely and violently. And I feel like what they had worked very well, especially with the monkeys and with everything going on with how let's call her Verna. I'm getting Verna and Victorine confused with how Victorine is treating these monkeys and how she's kind of making them more aggressive. It does make sense for them to do this. Oh Jesus. I was a little disappointed though that they didn't go out where like they tried to stuff Camilla's body up a chimney or something. That would have been a nice little nod and reference. But for what they got to work with that story, I think overall it's a good idea, a good premise. They did a good job. They set up a lot of things. They spent a lot of time on the Rue Morgue idea. So overall, I think it was a really, really good one. Now let's move on to the last one of this week's podcast. Episode 4, The Black Cat. We start off with Leo looking for a replacement for Pluto, because remember he killed Pluto, or supposedly killed Pluto. Now this is why I say supposedly. So remember I said he wakes up and he's got scratches all over his face. Well, literally in the next scene when he's cleaning up, he has no scratches. Now I can kind of get maybe he washed his face or something, but if a cat scratched you, aggressively as it should have, leaving all that blood, you would think it would be more permanent. But they weren't there. There was nothing there. And the fact as the episode progresses, you'll see that nobody else sees this damn cat but him. So, I don't think he ever killed. I think the cat, Pluto, actually just got out, walked out during the party, and he was just hallucinating the rest of this shit. Everything that happened, the blood, everything cleaned up, he hallucinated. But Leo's looking for his replacement cat, and Berna, again, she's trying to be nice. She's trying to give him options here. And again, the worst he's done is he's a cheating prick. So that's why he only gets one shot. He only gets like one little warning, that's it. With the other 2, she tried to give multiple warnings, multiple heads up, without saying, hey, stop this, don't do this. She tried. With Leo, she gave him like one shot and went, okay. I think she didn't like the cheating thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't think she liked that. But as he's looking around, she's like, why don't you try this cat or one of these? And he's like, no, it's got to be a black cat. It's got to look just like, there it is. And then, of course, we see a cat that looks just like Pluto right there. And she's just like, no, that one's already taken. So why don't you pick one of these other fine cats? One of these other ones so you don't have to die this horrible death. Nah, I'm an usher, and we don't take the word no for an answer. So, he promised her all this stuff if she gives him the cat. So she gives him the cat, and he looks so happy, so happy. He takes a picture on his phone of her holding this cat, And it's just, downfalls, downfalls, downfalls. So then he brings Pluto home, and the moment he gets home, the cat instantly scratches him. Like, I'm talking about aggressively, like it's like a deep blood mark on his arm. He's like, little shit, and throws it off, and it runs off. And as soon as that happened, he then gets the phone call about Camille and about her death, and he starts denying it, like, no, she ain't dead. I just spoke to her yesterday. No, she ain't dead. Because he actually liked her. And that's when we cut to Roderick and Augie again talking about denial. And this is what that conversation that I was bringing up earlier was about denial, about how, you know, no one could really. So everybody in the show, in some aspect, is denying something. They're denying the death of their siblings. They're denying the death of themselves. They're all in denial about what type of person they are. And I can see where Roger was coming in at about the denial conversation. But as he's having this conversation, of course, he keeps looking at his cell phone. And Augie's just like, are you sure you don't want to take that? No, it's just my granddaughter. It'll be okay. And, of course, we hear something in the basement. And Augie's like, yo, who dead in the basement? Oh, that's Madeline. That's Madeline. Go for it. You want to talk to her? Nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. And then after that, we cut to, again, another family meeting. They're all arguing at this point about Camille's death. They're blaming each other. You know, I think it's Leo's blaming Victorine because of her monkeys. Victorine's blaming Camille because she shouldn't have been there. And Frederick's the only thing he's worried about is his damn wife. He's like, my wife is in the ICU. Oh my God, you know, who cares? And eventually they're like, Leo, you're the one who's going to have to say something. He goes, no, I'm not doing it. I'm done with this. I'm tired. I'm done. I can't handle this anymore. And he gets up and he's just like, you can't walk away from this. Fine, write me out of the will. I don't care. I'm done. And he walks off. Leo's just, he's up to here with this BS. He's up to here. But he storms off. And then we then cut to later on after the meeting where Arthur is showing the security footage, and it's Verna. And he's literally putting two together. He's like, here's the woman from the Red Death. Here's the same woman here. And here's the same woman here. Like, she is everywhere. And I love this scene, by the way, because this is so funny. This is so funny. And I love this. But he's looking at the security footage, and he's just like, I can't really see. Can you enhance it? What do you mean enhance it? You know, like, zoom in, clear it up, enhance it. Roderick, does this look like a TV show or something? We can't enhance it. Well, just zoom in. And he zooms in, and he's looking at it, and he goes, I wish you could enhance it. And it's just that little sprinkle of comic gold that I just love about Mike's work. He's just like, here's some serious shit. People are dying. Ghosts are appearing out of nowhere. But here's like a comic moment just to make you giggle a little bit. It got me giggling, though. I'm not going to lie. Just, well, it'd look better if you could enhance it. But, so they're still trying to figure out who this woman is. So while they're doing that, we then cut back to Leo, who is on the edge. He is on the edge about everything. He can hear his sister's voice. Kind of, not actually like in the show, but you could tell like it character-wise. He can hear his sister's voice in his head because he's trying to find an outfit to wear for her funeral. She's like, what do I wear for a funeral? Do we do double funerals? Like, what are we going to do here? And he pulls out a black satin suit. And he's just like, I don't know anything black. Oh, wait, no, I do. It's black satin. Who wears black satin to a funeral? And I'm like, that's his sister talking to him. That is Camille right there going, I swear to God, Leo, if you wear black satin at my funeral, I'm going to beat your ass. But he is on edge about everything. And as he's looking through, the fucking cat comes in, attacks him again. and runs away. And he's just like, there's your damn cat, Jewel. There's your damn cat you're looking for. Ran off that way because Jewel was asking for, where Pluto was. We then cut back to Arthur, who's now showing up to the courtroom. Because remember, there's a court trial still going on, by the way. There's a court trial still going on. And they cut back through, and everybody's patiently waiting as Arthur runs in. He's like, I'm sorry I'm late, but we had another death in the family. And the judge is like, oh, shit, another one? Postpone this for a couple of days. This is getting out of hand here. This is getting out of hand. You would think more police would be involved, especially after the mysterious death of 3 of the 6 Usher family who are currently on trial right now. I feel like some conspiracy theories would be going on. But then we cut to Roderick, who is now sitting down talking to Victorine on why Camille would be at the Rue Morgue. Why was she there? And he thinks maybe Victorine could have been the snitch. He's like, listen, if it was you, I understand, I get this, but I need to understand why she was there. And she's just like, I don't know. I'm not the snitch, Dad. I promise. I'm not the informant. I don't know why she was there. And then he, asked about, the monkeys and what's going on with that, with the human trials. Does he need to pull the plug? And she's like, no, you don't need to pull the plug. We're getting ready for human trials next week. I promise, Dad, it's going to be good. Really? Human trials? This is wonderful. That's fantastic. See, I knew I could trust you. I knew I could count on you. And, again, kind of reaffirming and patting Victorine on the back, going, you're doing the right thing, when in actuality, she's not. She's pushing these human trials. It's basically the same thing the pharmaceutical company did back in 1979, with that Rufus was trying to cover up. Same thing, pushing human trials that were not ready. And she's willing to forge documents and stuff and sign papers just like Rufus. You're seeing a lot of similarities between how Rufus ran his business and Longfellow, and how the Ushers run their business. This is the exact same way. They want to change the world, but they want to change it for the worse, not for the better. But after that confirmation, we then cut to Arthur talking to Frederick, and he gives him the phone that was found on his wife's personal after the whole party, and he's like, if this is her phone, you need to crack it. Well, I don't know how to get into this phone, but it's clearly not her phone. It's her phone. You need to crack it. And this is what starts off the whole crazy phone shenanigans of him trying to get into this phone. Which, like I said, if they would have continued on with this plot thread and actually had it to where he either broke the phone and couldn't get into it because he broke the phone, or eventually she told him what the password was to the phone, and he looked into it and saw the messages from Perry, and then assumed she was having an affair with Perry, that would have been more interesting. But the fact that they started this and then kind of dropped it halfway through the show, that's one of the little nitpicks I have a problem with. But after that, we then go back to Madeline, who is now looking, not Madeline, with Roderick, who's got a text message from Madeline, and it's an enhanced photo of Verna, and she's like, enhance, period. Look familiar, question mark? And he's looking at it, and at the same time, Madeline is now driving somewhere. She winds up going to this the street, and she's standing there in front of the street, and she's just like, oh my God, how is this possible? No. And she's just looking at a brick wall. She's literally looking at a brick wall, and there's like a raven spray painted on the wall, and it's like graffiti and some other things. But she's just staring at a brick wall. And again, we find out later on in the show it's because that's where the bar was that her and Roger went to when they made the deal with Verna. But she doesn't know this at the time, so she's just looking at it like, what the hell's going on? And then we're with Roderick in the basement of the company, and he's looking at this brick wall that we saw in the beginning, like the first episode, that flashback when we got another brick in the wall. This is the wall we're looking at. And Roderick's just looking at it, and we just hear a little jingle, just a little jingle, 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 just slightly from behind the wall. We then cut to Verna talking to Vic about getting everything set up for the heart surgery and the trial and everything. She's like, man, you know, some of these companies, they really got me worried. You know, they're all dirty. You know, they do these things, kind of foreshadowing and warning Victory. What she's doing is basically just as bad as what she's trying to avoid. Because she didn't want to be the same like her father, you know, run a dirty pharmaceutical company. She wanted to bring it into the future and do something with it, but because it's really just wanting to impress her dad and really do something for him. And really, you know, make him just focus all his attention on her. She's going past all her practice, everything she's worked so hard for. She's willing to throw away just for this human trial. And Bernard tries to warn her. Bernard tries to warn her and tells her, you know, some of these companies are dirty, and you know, she's got a little worried, and Victorine's like, oh no, well, we're not like that, it's okay, you know, it's all cool, and she shows her what's going to go into her heart, and this cute little mesh thing, it's really adorable, and she's just like, yeah, this is what's going to go into you, and the device will help you and live a wonderful life. And of course, you know, Verna hugs her, and she's like, oh, thank you, doctor, you know, you make me really, really love this idea. I'm worried, but I really like this idea. We then come back to Frederick, who is still obsessing over the damn phone. So he's trying to get into it by taking her no, wait, he hasn't gone back to his wife yet. He's trying to get into his phone, and he's talking to his daughter about it. And his daughter's like, well, that's clearly not Mom's phone, because Mom has pictures of cakes. And so that's probably a burner phone. If it's a burner phone, there's other ways to get into a phone besides a password, and that's facial recognition or thumbprint scanner. And he's like, you know what, that's a good idea. Unfortunately, this dick waffle later on, I think, eventually goes to his wife while she's in the ICU and undoes the thing on her finger, tries to get into the phone with her burnt acid real finger, and then when that doesn't work, he undoes the bandages on her face and tries to get facial recognition. She's burnt to a crisp, bro. She's melted. The phone's not going to recognize anything about her. You dumbass. Or as that old Pokemon video, you stupid jackass. So then we got back to Leo, who tonight can't sleep. He's having problems. He's tossing, he's turning, he's having some bad problems. So his boyfriend wakes up and says, baby, what can I do to help you out? And he's like, oh, you know what to do. So, of course, he hits the position, and as, you know, he's going in, he's just like, what the fuck is that? Huh? Is everything okay? No, everything's fine. You're great, actually. You're great. And he looks over, and he sees these pet cemetery eyes just staring at him from afar, and he's just like, the fuck? And puts his hand behind his pillow, and then goes, Jesus! And flips the pillow over, accidentally punching his poor boyfriend in the nose with his knee, because you know what he was doing underneath those covers. And, yeah, there's a dead bird underneath his pillow, and he's just like, sorry, babe, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to burn these sheets now. And he, you know, throws it away. Yeah, he's not having a good time with old Pluto, is he? We then got back to Roderick, who is now talking about displacement, and he is talking about displacement, because we're back with the conversation with Augie and him yet again. And some of the conversation I am kind of glossing over because there's so much that happens in these monologues and these bits of dialogues that are really, really good and really interesting. And I could spend hours talking about everything that happens in these monologues because of just how well these scenes are. Even though it's two dudes sitting in one room having a conversation, I feel like that would be an excellent play. I'm not even going to lie, it's an excellent play. But yeah, I'm kind of glossing over some of the stuff that happens in a lot of these conversations. But yeah, no, it's a really really good time when you cut back and forth with Roderick and Augie. But he's talking about displacement. Oh wait, real quick. There's something I forgot to make a mention when he's talking when Perry died. When Perry died, I forgot to make a mention about this, and this is kind of important a little bit, and it's about taking responsibility. When talking to Augie about Perry's death, he makes a mention that Perry was found with a drug called Monty in his system. And he's like, what the hell is Monty? Monty is your drug. It's just street word for it. And he starts talking about how that's not his fault. Stuff like that is not his fault because it's all about the science of the formula. What somebody else does with my product is not my fault. You know, the drug's not addictive. It's not this. It's not that. And it's that accountability. He's not taking responsibility for what his drug is doing. He says that it's somebody else's idea. And again, how the ushers make their money. You know, somebody else does it. They just pay them to do it. And then they reap all the benefits from it. But yeah, I forgot to make a mention about that one earlier. And I thought about it as soon as I said displacement. It brought me back to that priest conversation. But anyway, so back to the conversation about Leo. He's talking about displacement. Damn it, I ain't fuck with my mic. Sorry, guys. Sorry. He's talking about displacement with about Leo and about how he was displaced from the situation overall because he's in the denial about everything. In the middle of this conversation, Leo's body falls from the ceiling, scaring the shit out of everybody, including myself, because again, Mike Flanagan, his classic work in the middle of a monologue, dialogue, and then a random jump scare happens. Fantastic, though. And then when he gets up, okay, this is it right here. This is that conversation I was talking about when he yells at the Leo. He basically says, "I'm getting to your story. I'm telling you what's going on. Just give me some fucking time and patience." And he's losing it. And Augie thinks he's yelling at him, and so he gets mad at him, and he's like, don't disrespect me like that. Don't talk down to me. You know, you're the one that invited me here to do all this. And of course, Roger's very apologetic. He's just like, listen, I'm sorry, I do respect you. I would have loved to see how everything played out in court. But I gotta ask though, who was the informant? And that's something he does ask periodically, is that who was the informant? It doesn't matter now, everybody's dead. Who was the informant? But he doesn't say anything. We didn't go, we didn't continue on, though, about, remember how I made that comment about Roger saying that the day he met Augie is when his life changed? This is that situation. He, after, yelling at Augie, saying he respects him, wants to see him in court, blah, blah, blah. He's like, the day I met you, everything changed, and then, flashback. So then, Augie's knocking on Roderick's door. He's like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, father of claim, blah, blah, blah. Can I talk to you for a minute?" And at first, Roderick's like, "No, I don't want to talk to you." He's like, "Listen, I have 36 names on here, and you're number 33, and I've had the doors slammed on me 32 times. Can I please talk to you?" And of course, Annabelle is just like, come on in, being super sweet. And he lays it out for them. He's just like, so this pharmaceutical company is doing all these trials and the bodies are missing. And so we found these paperwork and that's your signature, isn't it? And he's just like, yeah, it is. And do you remember signing this? I might have. And then he realizes that he needs to cover his ass here because, he could lose his job. So he's suddenly covering his ass. And Augie looks at this and he goes, "You know what? Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I understand. I get it. You're struggling right now. I take it y'all both been up." And he goes on this beautiful monologue, by the way, about the struggles of life. Like, I'm being straight up. It's a beautiful, beautiful monologue. He's just like, "I see it. Small apartment. Can't risk it, can you? You got a child. I see honey everywhere. He was sick, wasn't he? I see 2 coffee cups. In shifts, maybe. Both of y'all up. One of y'all sick. Maybe both. Who knows? I know life is hard. Life is struggling. You don't want to risk that. I understand that. but you gotta do what's right and what's fair. Did I write down exactly what he said? It's something about, we know how hard it is to do the right thing, but sometimes doing the right thing, will not give you what you want, but sometimes you gotta do the right thing. And that's basically what Augie's getting at. You gotta do the right thing, man. I get it, you're struggling. You need this job. You need the money, but these people are horrible people. You're working for a horrible corporation. Do the right thing. So, of course, Roderick goes and confronts Rufus about all this. And, of course, Rufus plays all this off. You know, again, the whole, are you a team player thing? You know, I'm sorry about that. Basically, spicing him up, rising him up, calling himself Willy Wonka, and that he's Willy Wonka, and he's willing to give Charlie the golden ticket, the key to the factory, and all this shit. You know, again, just spicing him up. You know, and he's just like, if you're a team player, what you need to do is say, yes, sir. No, it was sir, yes, sir. That's all you need to say. You don't need to say anything else. You don't need to do anything else. If you're a team player, just say it. And, of course, Roger looks at him and just goes, sir, yes, sir. Kind of just sealing away that deal, isn't he? He agrees, though, that he's part of the team and he's willing to do this. And Rufus, yet again, promises him the world, promises him everything, promises him, again, the key to the chocolate factory. We then cut to Madeline, and she knows the truth. She's like, you were the fall guy. You were the fall guy. And we all knew that, by the way, from the way it was said, because Rufus confirms that the signatures were forged. It was all him. You know, but they're team players, so, you know, one falls, they all fall, but we all know he was the fall guy. If they were ever to get busted, he would be the fall guy. Madeline knows this, so Madeline makes a plan. And again, this is where her manipulation comes in at. She's like, you know what you're going to do? You're going to be nice to Rufus. You're going to shake hands with him. You're going to take him on head on. You're going to look at him. And then what you're going to do, you're going to call August back. And you're going to befriend him. And y'all are going to become best friends. And y'all are going to take down Rufus. You know, and for once, it seems like Annabelle and Madeline are actually on the same page for once. They're both agreeing to talk to the Augie would be a good idea. And you're thinking, damn, for once, Madeline's on to something. And you like it. I liked it until you find out what really happened. Then you don't like it so much. So then we cut back away from the past time. Flashback time. We cut to Leo and his boyfriend, and as his boyfriend's getting ready to go, he looks at Leo and he tells him to slow down the drugs. He's like, baby, I know you've done drugs. You've been good at it. You're kind of a fucking guru at it. It scares me, but you've always been good. But baby, you need to slow down. You're not in your right state of mind. I know you got a lot going on. I know you're in control, but you need to slow down. For me, please, as a favor. And of course, you know, he's just like, alright, yeah, sure, why not? I'll slow down, whatever. And then we hear a knock at the door. It's Frederick. Oh, Frederick boy. Frederick is standing there and he's just like, hi, yeah, can I come in? Oh, this is a nice place. I saw your treehouse one, but this is nice. Frederick, what do you want? I need some drugs. That's basically, I need some drugs, man. With everything going on, with me trying to get to this phone, and my wife, and the ICU, and the doctors, and I just need something to take off the edge. And he's like, alright, stay away from the new stuff, this fancy name stuff. Here, go with the classic. Throws him a big old bag of cocaine. And I'm just like, that's not going to take the edge off. Just saying, cocaine is an upper. It's an upper. You don't need an upper when taking the edge off. You need a downer to relax you. Why did he not just give him some weed? Just give him some marijuana, man. Like, give him some ganja. Don't just give him cocaine and go, this should take the edge off. That's not how this works. That's not how that drug works at all. It actually makes you more on edge. And giddy. And geeky. I'm not gonna lie. But as he's talking to Frederick about this, the damn cat attacks Leo again, scratching him in the eye. Like, in the eye. And he's like, damn it, get that fucking cat. And Frederick's like, what cat? As he runs by and he goes to the bathroom and he's screaming, he's looking at his eye, and you see this nice cut in his eye. But again, in the next scene, it's gone. Magically. But, Frederick's like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna take this and go, bye, and like walks off. Leaving poor Leo to deal with this pissed off cat. We then cut to Timberland, who we haven't seen in a good minute. And she's watching her husband's workout videos. And she sees Verna in his workout video. And that does not make her happy. Because apparently they got a rule when it comes to these girls that they don't socialize with them outside of the sexual encounter. Other than that, they don't socialize with them. They don't fuck them. And that seems to be a rule that they tend to follow. So she ain't happy about that. But that is setting up what's going to happen in Goldbug. We then cut back to Leo. And he's not having a good day. He keeps waking up and finding dead things everywhere. He goes to put his shoes on, dead thing. He goes to take a step somewhere, there's a dead thing. There's just dead animals everywhere. Eventually he gets fed the fuck up after hearing this cat meowing through the walls. That he calls in Verna for backup. And he's just like, you gotta get rid of this cat, man. I don't know where it's at, but I can't even, like, you gotta take it back. Well, it can't be that bad now, can it? Cats are hunting creatures. They like to give prey because they don't think you can hunt. And he's like, no, let me show you. And he takes her to the bathroom. He's got all these dead birds and rats and stuff in this bathtub. She looks over and she's like, never seen a cat do that before. I know, this is crazy. I mean, like, put them in the tub? That is crazy. Not that. I've been cleaning them up. And, I'm sorry, I just love that. I've never seen them do that before. Put them in the tub. Like, I love Verna. I love her. I love her. But as that's going on, he's freaking out about the cat, and, she's fucking with them. She's really fucking with them. She's like, do you hear them? Cats are predators. They like to hunt. They like to prey. They like to hide and pounce when necessary. Can you hear her? Can you hear them? They're in the walls. And you can hear, all through the walls and stuff. And then, of course, Verna just kind of disappears for a second. And, he's looking around, and Verna disappears, and then she reappears somewhere else. And the cat then kind of attacks him on the side as she's going through this speech. And when it attacks him, of course, he starts fighting this damn cat back. And he grabs this poor kitty, and he squeezes the kitty eye out. Like, just pops the poor kitty's eye out. Granted, it's an evil fucking cat, so not poor kitty, but this cat got his little eye popped out. Poor buddy. Granted, Eric thought the CGI was bad on this. I thought it was pretty decent. Because again, the death of an animal, that's something that's uncomfortable for everybody. But after he pops the eye out, he looks at Verna, who's now standing there with one eye missing herself, hanging there, and she's just like, licks her hand like a cat. She's acting like the cat now. She's very cat innocent, because she's even got a little collar with a bell on and everything. And Verna's just standing there, and then you start hearing the cat, going crazy in the walls, and she disappears. And he's just like, okay, you want to fuck with me? You want to mess with me? All right, I got you, man. And I will tear this place up. I will tear this place down. I will burn this shit down to the ground. He grabs his hammer, right? And it's Thor's hammer. It's actual Thor's hammer from Thor, from the Marvel movie Thor. He grabs it, and he's like, I will fuck shit up, and I don't care if I ruin my hammer by doing this. Let's just get another one from the Hemsworth himself. And he starts, like, smashing the wall, and he's going ham. He's having a meltdown. Like, he is just losing his shit. I am not even lying. And I want to say, at one point, he ends up breaking the wall out. And then sticking his hand in there, and goes to fight the fucking cat. And of course, the cat, like, bites the shit and claws the shit out of his arm. So when he jerks back, it's like war. It's fucking war. He's not, he wants to go ham with this damn cat. He wants to duke it out. But after that, we then cut to Frederick, and like I said, Frederick's doing the whole thing when he's trying to get the phone unlocked by using his wife's fingerprint and the facial scanner. But after that, we then cut to Tamerlan, and she's confronting her boyfriend about seeing Berna on the show. And he's like, baby, listen, I'm sorry. I would never do this. I would never go against our rules about having sex outside of the kinky time. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was her. If I wouldn't known that, I would have just sent her away. I promise, baby. I love you and only you. And, I believe him. Like, 100%. I believe him. He's an innocent bystander. He's he's a good person. Thank God Tamerlan pushed him away. Like, straight up. Like, he deserves better. He deserves better. We then cut to Roderick talking to Juno about getting off the pills. Juno wants to wing herself off. She doesn't want to take this many pills anymore. And she's just like, I don't think it would be too bad. I don't think it would be too bad to get off these pills. Like, do you think it would be a bad idea? And he's like, baby, no, don't go off the pills. Don't do this. I need you. How would this look if my poster child got off the pills, especially during this trial? You cannot do this. Not now, baby. Not now. And as they're chit-chatting, and he's trying to talk her off from getting off the pills, Perry's ghost then appears behind her, kind of holding Juno, which causes him to have a heart attack almost, but he ends up freaking out and passing out. And that's when we cut to him in bed talking to Madeline, and that's when he confesses what the doctor told him back in the first episode that we didn't know about. This is what we get told about him dying. He's got the same disease his mother has. And it's kind of a nice moment, because the only vulnerable moment you have between both Madeline and Roderick is the most human but vulnerable moment you'll have, of them coming to terms that he is dying and there's nothing they could do to stop this. It's rapidly going, and that everything he's doing with the heart transplant thingy with Victorine and the pills and everything, it is all to prolong his life. And you find out later on the reason why is because he knows about the deal. He knows that once he dies, everybody dies. So he was trying to save his family by prolonging his life. Unfortunately, death come a-knocking. So then we cut back to Leo and his boyfriend come home. And he's like, baby, is everything? And he sees the apartment is wrecked. I'm talking about there's holes in the walls, the paneling's out, furniture's flipped, things are ripped, things are just destroyed all over this apartment. And Leo comes out and he's just like, where's that damn cat? Where is it? And he's freaking out. And his boyfriend's trying to calm him down. And then he hears the cat again. He's like, I'm going to destroy everything I can to get to this fucking cat. And as soon as he breaks the wall, he sees Verna's body with the eye and everything behind the wall, with the cat above it also missing an eye, and it screams at him, and he screams back at it. He freaks out, and of course his boyfriend's like, baby, calm down. He turns around, looks at his boyfriend, looks back at the wall. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And yeah, he's covered in cuts and shit from all the wreckage that he has caused by. He's basically hurt himself. He hurt himself doing all this. And as he realizes that there's no body there and the cat's not there, he looks over to the balcony and he sees Pluto sitting on the balcony. So what's this dumbass do? He makes a full charge towards this cat, goes to take a swing with Thor's hammer, and falls off the balcony because the cat disappears. He falls, I don't know how many stories down, hits the ground a splat. Hard as hell. Hits that ground. He's dead. We got this nice camera shot looking at him, and then we see Pluto the cat. Pluto the cat that's been missing since the beginning of this episode and last episode shows up licking him, wearing the Gucci collar and all. Episode ends. Like, I love it. I love it. I don't want to say I hate it, but I love it. But I also wish, like I said, they would do a little bit more with it. Because, again, Black Cat was a good story. Really good. But I feel like, again, they set up too much for the Tell-Two Hearts, or Telltale Hearts, not Tell-Two Hearts, Telltale Hearts. They set up too much for that going into this episode, so it felt more like a Telltale Heart and Black Cat meshed together. I feel like they really could have done a little bit more with the Black Cat. But what they did use, I liked it. I liked the story overall, and I liked the fact that it was all psychological when it came to Leo. Because, in the story, it's kind of the same way that, he's losing his mind. He's the animal lover, and he's the one, losing his shit on this cat and everything, and the accident kills his wife. He's the one losing his mind. So I do like the aspect that they had this whole, like, going crazy aspect, he sees the claw marks, he sees the cat, but nobody else does. Nobody else sees this shit. So it gets you, wondering, or it gets, everybody kind of wondering some aspects of, how can, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It gets people wondering, the characters that is, of how somebody died. Because there's something I just thought about. Something that's very interesting about this. And the same thing that happened in The Haunting of Hill House, and the same thing that happened in Blind Manor, where a lot of it could be explained non-supernatural wise. Granted, we know as the audience watching this, it's all supernatural. We know he made a deal with a demon, devil, something, Verna, and all his family's gotta die because he's dying too. We know this, but if you were a character in the story, this all looks plausible. Perry is dead. Horrible accident. He was in the wrong place, hosted the wrong party at the wrong time, being careless, being stupid. Camille, an accident. Completely preventable. She didn't go in and fuck with the monkeys. She just would have left the monkeys alone. Boom, perfectly preventable. Leo, he lost his shit because of drugs. He's a drug addict. We all know he's a drug addict. He does a lot of drugs. He could have lost his mind because of the drugs. So all this could be explained non-supernatural wise. And that's something I also love about the writing of this show. Is that, granted, we all know it's supernatural, but it could be taken as non-supernatural. But yeah, that was the first 4 episodes of House of Ushers. Absolutely love it. Great media. Great work. It's a fantastic show, especially these first 4 episodes. Really good. You got the 2 big main staples, where actually, not technically it's 3. Technically it's 3, because of course, Mask of the Red Death is one of Poe's most popular stories. Black Cat's also extremely popular, and then Murder of the Rue Morgue, that's also popular, but not adapted as much as, say, the other 2. Mask of the Red Death, especially the Black Cat. Black Cat's been adapted several times throughout the years, because it's very, very popular. It's one of Poe's best work. Not the best work, but some of his best work. But yeah, I like how the show sets everything up. I like how the titles tie in. I like everything that is happening so far up to this point. Granted, I know how the rest of the show ends and everything, but just going through the first 4 episodes alone, I like how everything's set up. And by this point in the story, we are now, I want to say, done with the bastard children. I want to say, just about. Next to Victorine. After Victorine, that's the last of the bastard children. Then we have the 2 main children, and then Roderick himself. Well, Roderick and Madeline. But I like the way everything's set up, especially the writing, a lot of the lightings, a lot of the trickery, the practical effects. It's just really good. And the music's great. The atmosphere is wonderful. Everything about this is great. And like I said, one of my other favorite aspects, I want to say I said it earlier, was Augie and Roderick's conversations, by themselves in that room. I feel like that would still just be an amazing play. Just a single set kind of play of a man telling a story. And I feel like that would be a very intriguing play. It's all be monologue heavy and very dark and dreary. But I feel like that would be an excellent play. I'm not even going to lie. But I think I done rambled on long enough about these 4 fantastic episodes. We will be... And there's the rest of that stroke right there, guys. There's the rest of that stroke. We'll be continuing on with the rest of the episodes 5 through 8 next week, where we can conclude... Well, let me try that again, guys. Let me do that one more time. Next week, we will conclude with episodes 5 through 8 for the rest of the fall of the House of Ushers. Hopefully next week, I'm not having as many strokes as I have today. I don't know why I'm getting so tongue-tied today. It's just been one of those days, man. It's just been one of those days. But yes, we did the first 4 today. We'll do the rest of the 4 next week. It's a fantastic show. I cannot wait to talk about the rest of the show because of the fact that I love the Pendulum. It's one of my favorite short stories by Poe, and it couldn't happen to a better person. Frederick, it couldn't happen to a better person. I'm not gonna lie, it could not happen to a better person. I'm not too big on the Goldbug one, but again, it was mainly because I don't know the story very well, but it's still a good episode, and it's still a fun episode, and it still hits everything that is the story of Goldbug. But it's, not one of the ones I'm awfully familiar with. And of course, The Raven. We all know The Raven and the Telltale Hearts. Again, we got a good collection coming up of episodes. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. If this is your first time hearing anything about this, I don't know why you're watching me on the podcast talk about it. But, if this is your first time, I'm glad I was able to walk you through it, help you through it. Again, highly do recommend you sit down and watch this show if you've never seen it before. It's a fantastic show. It really is. It's second when it comes to Mike Flanagan works for me. But we'll gush more about the show overall next week. But let me go ahead and end this podcast here. I hope everybody who has watched is watching will watch. I hope you enjoy. I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night, guys. And don't forget, if you're watching this video here on YouTube, give this video a like, subscribe, and quite possibly a comment down below. Hit that notification bell because you never know what's going to happen here. Trust me, I never know. And if you are watching this on Spotify or Anchor, or basically listening to this, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and do whatever you got to do on Spotify. Because I'm going to try my best to do a lot more with the podcast this year than I did last year. Because I know the last couple of months, especially around November, December, I was a little lackluster. But again, I talked about it before. Had some issues come up. But all issues aside, we should be back to a normal schedule. We're going to do about... I'm going to say we're going to try to do about 2 podcasts a month. 3 if we're doing like an episodic thing, kind of like we are with the Fall of the House of Ushers. We're doing 2, the show, and then of course we're going to be talking about the Saw movie. We're going to talk about the first Saw, and this year I do want to talk about the Saw franchise. I want to tackle it and have a good time and talk about why I like the Saw franchise. It ain't just because of the gut, the blood, the guts, the gore, the trash, the psychological torture. I mean, granted, that shit's great and all that, but, there's more to the Saw franchise I like, and I would like to dive into it, that maybe help people understand that when it comes to the Saw franchise, the first 4 Saws actually has something to say. The Chris Rock Saw actually has something to say. The Saw X movie actually had something to say. Story-wise, plot-wise, character-wise, it has something to say. Now, the Hoffman era and that fucking Jigsaw movie, where it's a prequel / sequel thing, that was all more torture porn. Okay, the Jigsaw one was more of they were running out of ideas and needed something to do. The other shit, that was just torture porn. But, I'll break that down a little bit as we go out throughout the movies and stuff. But that is a story for another day, so until then, my friends, y'all take care, and I'll see y'all next week for a continuation of all the help. Damn it, one more stroke before I go. I'll see y'all for the continuation of Fall of the House of Usher next week, episodes 5 through 8. Y'all take care.